Welcome. Oh, there we go. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
My fucking mouse isn't working. I'm trying to get this thing going back on. My mouse isn't working. I'm like, what is happening right now? But no mouse.
I thought I had 5 minutes. I was just picking my nose. Like, Jesus.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. There we go.
That was aggressive.
Yeah, welcome everybody. Nice to see you. Sorry about the delayed response. That's just who I am today. Nice to see you. My name is Dean, and we're back for another day. On a day where Armageddon is coming to Southern Ontario. We've had a few storms in and around the area that we live, the Greater Toronto area.
Suck it up.
Yeah, I know. But yesterday, Linz was like he was inside because he was
tornadoes.
like fucking. Yeah, it was Kansas. It was like Toto shit. It was like Wizard of Oz stuff up north of the city in God's country, Muskoka, if you will. And same with Sheep King. JB's here. JB, you're having a bit of a storm, right? Correct. I think I just fucking heard that. Are you okay? You all right?
Wow, that was close. That was close. My whole room just shook. How do I still have power? Like I fart in this room and the power goes out. Like let alone like
it's a big fart.
Yeah, it's quite the fart you have there. Quite the fart box you have there, young man.
Yeah, Jesus.
But yeah, so we've had some terrible weather, but Linz is outside. It's nice. Sheep King's inside. JB's inside because it's shit. Don't know what it's like in Alberta, Locke, other than cloudy with the chance of rednecks. But nice to see you as well.
I got good weather for the lawn darts tournament. Here's why.
Nice.
Yep.
It's pissing rain right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to soften up the ground. And then on Sunday, it's supposed to be sunny and 25.
Right.
Which is perfect weather for the second best summer ever annual locker room illegal lawn darts tournament.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, what people don't know is Lachlan likes to skirt the laws. He likes to skirt the rules. It's what he does. And when he skirts the rules, he likes to give himself every opportunity to get arrested. So I don't know if people know this. Lawn darts are illegal. You cannot buy them. You cannot sell them. So because he runs the entire radio station he works at, he doesn't, but he does. It's unofficial because he's the moneymaker. He's the guy. He's the person that brings in the ratings.
I just don't like to admit that I work there, so I kind of get away with stuff.
Yeah. So what he's doing, JB, I don't know if you know this, he hosts an illegal and dubs it an illegal lawn darts tournament every single summer. And hundreds of people show up to this thing. And what they do is they get
usually the cops come too,
as drunk as humanly possible in a field near his house. And they put Jimmy in like a hard hat and a bulletproof vest because he's the dart guy. He goes out and collects
actual military
Kevlar,
military grade
from Afghanistan.
So basically, it's just a whole bunch of Albertans getting wasted, throwing like weapons in the air to see who can get the weapon closest to the weapon hole. And not only is it not sanctioned, not only is it illegal, everyone in the country turns a blind eye that one day just for Lachlan's illegal darts tournament. That's a fact.
This morning, somebody sent us a text, said, hey, on Sunday, should we bring a cooler? Like, what's the deal with beverages? So we went on the air to tell people we can't legally drink in the park because that's illegal, but be discreet about it. Maybe bring some koozies or whatever. And so after the show, the boss was like, can you not encourage illegal drinking activities on top of the illegal lawn darts tournament?
Did you tell him to fuck off?
Yeah, that's what I do. That's why I've been employed so long, because on a fairly regular basis, I tell my superiors to fuck themselves.
Sounds like a good strategy.
That might have been my problem, actually.
I think.
Think about it. It might have been my issue. Just before I got fired at the Edge, I called my boss Benjamin Buttons because he got new teeth and new hair. I go, okay, Benjamin Buttons. And he's like, really? I go, yeah. He goes, you're
that's what did it. That's what brought it.
I don't give a fuck. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, because I knew it was coming, right? Like I knew that you could see all the dice lining, and everybody's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm probably going to lose my job over this whole thing." And then we were in the middle of the hallway, and he walks down the hallway. My new boss, Dave, at the time, what a douchebag! Like the biggest douchebag you've ever met in your life, and knew nothing about how to be. What? Am I not juggling the balls enough for you? Relax. So here's the deal. And this guy's out of work, and he's an alky, so who cares? So my point is this: is that he walks down the hallway, and he was just a douchebag. Like had a DUI, didn't care that he had one. He told me that one of the guys we work with put this court thing in jeopardy. So he's like, we can't have possible criminals working here. I'm like, you've been popped for DUI, dude. You're a fucking total criminal, and you're my boss. And he's like, that's not the point. Anyway, couple days later, and I knew it was coming. He's walking down the hallway, and he's got a new vest on. His hair color is like jet brown. It used to be like salt and pepper. It's like a totally different color. He's got brand new eyebrows, like brand new tattooed eyebrows, and teeth the size of fucking credit cards. And I'm like, holy shit, what are you, Benjamin Buttons?
Hot girl summer.
Anyway, it was a couple days later. I was told you should probably.
We have
for a couple weeks.
We have a radio station in our building.
I'm not good at licking balls. I really am terrible at it.
You're
I'm
not
a bad ball licker.
No.
Hard work.
Part of the reason why you're your own boss now.
Thank you.
So we have this guy. I'll just say his first name.
Want some ball licking
first
music,
name is
by the way?
Jake.
Yeah.
This is not ball licking music. This is another coworker. You told the story, and it reminded me of something that I witnessed not long ago. So in our business, quite often you'll end up with talented radio DJs that are on formats where they're appealing to a much younger audience than they are themselves. So they might be hitting 40, 42, 45, 46, 47, 48, and they're broadcasting, and they're black, the hip-hop dudes, their audience is 20. And so they're trying to relate to this young audience, yet they're closing in on 50. And so when they're closing in on 50, they're trying to look like they're 29, 30. So there's a lot of effort put in. And
To
quite
keep their
often,
jobs,
they're
right? Because do you know what they call that? Aging out of the demo. That's what they call it, just to let everybody know. Sorry to interrupt. Aging out of the demo. It's like death for a radio person or television person. Death.
Just a female thing.
Yeah.
This is a male too. And you'll see it at like top 3 radio stations across the countries where you'll see a morning show guy who's 48-ish. He's losing his hair and he's wearing a pair of pants that he shouldn't be wearing. And he probably can't sit comfortably in them. And I see this all the time. I'm a witness for years, and it's just like, I'm just so glad that I've been in a format. I've been in rock radio since I've like got into it, where no one gives a shit what age you are, and I don't have to try to appeal to, fashion-wise to an audience that's below me, right? And anyway, I'm in the elevator one day with this guy Jake, and we're going, and I look over, I'm like, Jake, how you doing? And he's like, oh, good. And it's the summer. And it's kind of hot, and we're kind of, everyone's a little sweaty, and everyone's kind of got a bit of a glistening on their face. And I look over, and Jake has got a little drop, and it's going down his forehead. The hair dye.
The Rudy
Giuliani. Oh, Jinx.
Starts leaking. Did you say anything?
Hey, Jake.
Did you do him a solid, or did you go, I can't wait for this guy?
No, I did one of these. Hey, Jake, you might want to go.
Yeah, you're a way better person than me. I would have said, hey, dude, have a great day. You look awesome.
Yeah. I wouldn't have said anything. I'd just let it happen.
Yeah.
Watch that train wreck. But.
Yeah. And then when he comes up to you and he's like, why didn't you say anything about my hair? I'd be like, because it's an idiotic thing to do. Spray paint your head. Yeah.
I thought you were going for the ridiculous look. I'm sorry.
No.
Is this in? Am I missing something?
He was also combing in like a dark beard too. So not only did he have like a jet black beard and jet black hair that looked really weird on him, because he looked like a vampire. Yeah.
He had the jet black beard.
It was leaking.
Yeah. That's the douchebag look. I think it's the douchebag helmet. I know there are a lot of people like to try and look young, but some people embrace who they are, right? Like, not many people do that. Right. Just, what do you mean, fuck off? What do you mean? Like me, fuck off?
You get fat, you get fat. If you get old, you get old. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Be yourself. Stop it.
Don't disagree.
Stop trying to be something you're not.
I know.
Everybody can see through it.
Yeah, dude. The same thing with hair plugs. Never understood that one. Like,
it's so
I'm
obvious.
getting hair plugs.
It's glaring.
No, I'm totally getting hair plugs.
No,
That's a body dysmorphia,
right
though,
from my
I
ass.
think.
What do you mean body dysmorphia? Like if you get hair plugs?
No, when they get them, they think that it looks good and that people can't tell that it looks like the top of a Ken doll. Like, you know what I mean? Like where they're just plugged right out.
Yeah, cornrows. Yeah, you look like someone farmed corn on your head. That's all I think of when I see it. And like back in the day, like when people started getting them, there was like, it was so difficult. and they didn't have it refined where like they don't look like someone literally was planting corn in a row on your head. Now they look a little bit better. They got different methods. But if you got hair plugs back, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, you're dealing with all kinds of embarrassment today. Like all kinds of embarrassment. Because it doesn't stop going. You don't stop going bald in one spot. Like it is like what hair plugs here. And apparently it's like so fucking painful. It's unbelievable. Hair plugs. It's a huge commitment to having hair. Major commitment. Major burden about going bald. 30 years ago. Now you got options.
Happens.
You're it's got like colossal side effects around you too. Like you're in severe pain. Your family dies of embarrassment. It's bad all around. So
yeah. Family dies of embarrassment.
I worked with a guy.
Can you imagine your family coming up to you after you got $30,000 worth of hair plugs going, your fucking head embarrasses the family.
You can't come anymore. You don't get called for the family picture anymore.
You get the absent note. Absent.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't come to the family barbecue. Your head looks like a fucking corn farm. Sorry. You can't come. Yeah. That's how I feel too. I feel the exact same way.
We worked with this guy. What the fuck was his name?
Are you eating like nonstop on the show?
Yeah, I'm having a chocolate bar.
You've been eating it for 11 and a half minutes. You've been eating it since the start of the show. You haven't stopped eating it.
Using a fork and knife? Or?
Yeah.
That's not a chocolate bar.
That's a bag of chocolate bars. Yeah, I get it. Okay.
So anyway, my wife, we shouldn't talk about my wife. We'll talk about this guy that I worked with that had a hairpiece. Gary. I think his name is Gary. Why can't I remember his name?
Let's call him Gary.
Good catch.
Gary.
Yeah.
Anyway, Gary was on the afternoon drive when I started at this most recent radio station. I was maybe a week or two in, and I was on the air, and I started making fun of his hairpiece. And the general manager comes running up, in the control room, you have windows quite often to go out into the hallways. Yeah. And she comes running out to the windows, and she's going, "Stop! Stop!" And then I'm looking at her going, "What?" And anyway, I hit the commercials, and she comes running in. Tamara, God love her soul. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "No, she got fired." And she's like, "What are you doing? Nobody talks about Gary's hairpiece." And she's like, "It's just like a thing." And I'm like, "What? Hold on. No one told me." And
fuck
we're all just supposed to ignore that he has a hairpiece?
No one told me. You went with no one told me? What an asshole. I love you so much. No one told me.
I wasn't
aware. He was on a bike. He was on a bike thing where he was riding a bike, and I don't know what we were doing. We were giving away the bike he was riding or something. And I was like, I hope you got enough glue for your hairpiece.
Don't go too fast.
She was flipping out. I'm like, we're all just supposed to ignore the fact that guy is wearing a lid?
Yes.
Like,
yeah, you are.
I can't.
Technically, you are. Dude, well, do you not? Here's the thing. When you walk by someone, like there's a guy that was a dad on my kid's hockey team years ago, hairpiece, but the hairpiece was attached to that nifty little Bluetooth thing that sits in your ear. And I remember going up to him, and I didn't know that, trying to pull it out of his ear because he was like a fun-loving guy. I'm like, hey, you should get off your phone. And his hairpiece came with it. And I was like, holy fuck. And I kind of tried to put it back, and I was standing there like this. Like, I didn't know, man. I had no idea you attached the Bluetooth to the hairpiece.
What sort of technology is that?
He was like this. He was like, don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me ever. And he was like petrified after that. Not long after that, he quit. He refused to even come to hockey games because he took his earpiece out and it had his fucking toupee attached to it. And I remember walking up and I'm saying to the guys, was that rude? Like some of the other dads on the team, they're like, it's just not something you do when you know a guy's got a fake rug, right? You're not supposed to like go anywhere near it with your hands. And I'm like, I didn't know that this was wig etiquette. I was just having fun with the guy. And I literally didn't know. But what you're saying is you totally knew, then went after him, and then you used this as an excuse. Was I not supposed to make fun of his hairpiece? Well, why do you think he's fucking wearing it, dude?
The best thing was
he's embarrassed that he doesn't have hair.
I went golfing with him, and he shows up with a different color hairpiece, but it was attached
the Thursday
to
wig,
a visor. So he had different gear.
Oh my God.
He had to take his golf hair with him that day.
He had a golf headpiece.
Do you think he has like it on racks where it's like, this is my golf headpiece, this is my formal headpiece?
It was a shade or two lighter than the other one.
Honey, get me my church hair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that one's at the cleaners here.
Is this a formal headpiece or is this a casual headpiece? You're trying to gauge that dinner party is like, is this just hanging out at a barbecue headpiece?
And what does this what does this hair go with? Suit or
I gotta
sweater?
agree with.
What's the wine pairing?
Should I wear the blue tweed?
I didn't know that we all had
my hazel hair.
Some sort of responsibility when it came to other people's hair pieces. I'm with Locke. I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, we don't have a responsibility, but the thing is that you're not supposed to you're not supposed to talk about someone's hairpiece unless they talk about it first. It's like,
yeah,
you know who would know? Things. You know who would know? By the way, we got a lot to get to on the program today. We're going to recap the Real Andy Lee show that we did yesterday, which was Bananarama. A lot of big reaction to that. We got notes. We're going to get to Alex Jones as well. Oh yeah, JB's a researcher. He got notes, all right.
I got notes.
Alex Jones had like the worst day in the history of InfoWars, in the history of assholes. It's fucking beautiful. We'll get to that shot in Freud later on today if we can stop masturbating over the whole thing. I don't even know if I can.
I haven't finished.
Since it happened yesterday, I've just been masturbating nonstop. But when it comes to hair and etiquette, I'd like to bring in a guest. Please welcome to the program, partner, kivlaw.ca, looking for a defense attorney who will stand up for you. Our friends at kivlaw.ca do it all day long, and they're the best. Please welcome the principal, Rob Kivlikin, ladies and gentlemen, at kivlaw.ca.
Rob, we have to behave now.
Why are you wearing a hat?
Got no mic.
You got him
muted.
Mute.
You're muted. Can't hear you. Muted. Got to take it off mute. Need some audio. Got to take it off mute ski. No. Can't hear you.
I have this issue every time I bring a guest in on my show. They just, as Ryan knows, it's kind of a bit. It's like, oh, well, they have connection issues.
Yeah, that's what a big time lawyer looks like with a Blue Jays hat on. By the way, just so you know, Kivlaw defense lawyer.
Bend that beak, man.
You don't bend the beak.
Don't bend the beak.
Yeah. Bend it.
No, you
bend
don't.
it.
Yeah,
you do.
Yeah, you do.
You there, Robbie? You got me.
Rob?
No.
You guys hear me?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah, got you now. Ladies and gentlemen, Rob Kivlikin, Kivlaw Defense Attorneys, partner here at DeanBlundell.com, powered by Kivlaw Defense Attorneys. Kivlaw.ca if you're in trouble or if you've done something dumb. How you doing, bud?
The director of legal.
I'm just calling in. I'm in the middle of a loss. I'm kind of, big way. Is my audio okay?
You're cutting in and out.
No.
Not the best, but we're getting there. That's okay. No worries.
Go to the toilet. Sometimes there's a better connection in the shitter.
Fuck's sake.
Fuck's sakes, Lachlan. He says. So why are you wearing the hat, first of all, before we get to Alex Jones?
They lost yesterday.
Alopecia's acting up.
Yeah. It's alopecia's acting up. That's what he says. You're follicularly challenged, right? Individual. Yeah, it's going. You're never going to get a hairpiece, right?
I've thought about when you were talking about plugs.
Yeah. Go ahead. Talking about plugs. Gotcha.
Now we can't hear him.
Why is he out of here? Now we can't hear you on this either.
He's on mute.
You on mute? I don't have.
Is he being sequestered by a judge or something? Like, what's going on here? Why isn't he in his normal office?
Still can't.
He's on house arrest.
Yeah, don't know, buddy. I think your phone's muted.
You're in contempt.
I object to your ability to operate your phone.
Yep.
You guys got me now, yeah?
Yeah.
Objection.
That's it.
There you go.
Okay, so yes or no to the hairpiece?
So there's a say which jurisdiction, because I know one of you will be crawling around the courthouse, but there's a Crown attorney who I've ever seen in my life. It is horrible. Like, it's a dead cat, and it's a running joke in his office. Like, I asked other Crowns, I'm like, is this like, are you guys like just ignoring that that's a thing? Like, what law comment on this? And they're like, yeah, we just kind of deal with it. Like, the worst rug I've ever fucking seen in my life. It looks like a dead cat. Like,
well, that's what I'm saying. Is it like if you see it and it looks obviously like it's a hairpiece, right? Like if it looks that bad, which Lachlan says it does. This guy's hair look that bad. You deliberately stay away from it. Like you for sure talk about the person behind their back and joke around with them.
Absolutely. That's one of my favorite things to do when I'm at that courthouse. Like, have you seen this fucking hairpiece today? It's ridiculous. Other defense lawyers, other crowns too. It's how I bond with other crowns. Like, it's great. Like I've thought about, because I'm starting to crown like on the top, which is officially entered the hat market at that point. Like, so I've thought about, getting plugs, but I don't think a huge market for it in Turkey.
Yeah, I don't think there is.
I've heard people go to Turkey.
It's like a thing. Like,
it's a thing.
I've researched the exclusive packages where you can like fly to Turkey, head cat on top of your head. You can recover, and then you fly home. It's like all inclusive packages, just like in your face off.
You're kidding?
Yeah, it's a whole thing. I've heard about this. It's like Turkish hair plugs. It's a thing.
I have heard about it.
Right next to the Persian rug district.
Turkish hair plugs
and the hammock
Persian rugs.
Same hair.
Right next door to each other. Yeah.
Very cool.
Hair.
Fascinating. I didn't know. Yeah, Turkey, there are some countries over there that have like these plastic surgery things, right? Like where you can do plastic surgery tourism where you can go over, get hair plugs, get boobs done, get your whole face done, get your whole body done. Like you can go over there and they'll carve you up and chop you up and send you home. And it's like you look like a different person. But it's like a whole tourism industry in certain countries, right? I didn't know they did it specifically for hair plugs, so that's funny.
Oh, yeah.
I believe it's a form of medical tourism, I guess you could
there's
say.
a dental one too.
Really?
Yeah.
People go to Mexico to get veneers.
Yeah, Cuba. Yeah. You can go to Cuba and get cancer treatment because they have like amazing cancer treatment in Cuba. So people go and book an all-inclusive resort, and then they run into the Havana.
Immune therapy.
It's crazy. I've seen it. I've talked to these people. I've gone to Cuba a bunch of times. But
they do a lot of stuff that we do in testing phases. Like if it's in testing here and like clinical trials, it's already happening in Cuba. So you don't have time to wait for a clinical trial. Like they didn't cure it, but they had a really, really state of the art treatment for lung cancer.
Yeah.
And
everyone cigars. So everyone's
like non-small cell lung cancer.
When we're at the dog testing stage, they're at human stage in Cuba.
Yeah, they're already
with the vaccine, they made 5 different versions of the COVID vaccine because no country wanted to send them the vaccines we have because of the embargo. So they had to make it themselves, and they made 5 different versions of it, like quicker than we ever did. It's their healthcare is so much different, but
their medical research is state of the art, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So
in Cuba, I mean, they have no salt and their food tastes like shit, but they can cure the fuck out of cancer. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Beautiful country.
Never been. Yeah, this person's like, look at this. He's like, Mexico for teeth. Like, if someone said to me, where do you want to get your teeth? I wouldn't go Mexico. You're like, I don't know, a place where people have nice teeth. Like
Bonzi had a guy on his show that ran a dental clinic down in the place that he was in Nicaragua. Same thing where you could go down and get your teeth all redone.
Shocker. Bonzi knew a dentist in Nicaragua that could give him cut rate dentistry. Yeah.
Yeah. And go on. You know what I mean? It's like dentistry, medical. I don't want a deal. I really don't. Less.
Yeah.
Like
I'm the same way. If someone's like, hey, do you want a deal on meat? I'd be like, no, not really. I'd like to pay full price for meat. Same thing with like medical, work done to my body. If there's like, hey, listen, you can use us or you can go get a cut rate service in grandma's basement. I'd be like, no, thanks. I'm good. Like, or you can go to Turkey and get like $20 veneers for your whole mouth. I'm like, well, chances are that's not going to work. But yeah, I'm the same way. Listen, I don't want to talk about veneers. I don't want to talk about hair plugs. It was just a quick aside. Your audio sucks, but we're gonna keep you in the mix here because something happened yesterday to Alex Jones that fucking made us all laugh in real time. It literally broke in the middle of our show. Everybody knows who Alex Jones is, InfoWars guy. Yesterday, he's in court. He's in the, I believe it's in the what's the sentencing portion or the damages portion of his sentencing, Rob? Like, how do you describe that before we watch the video? What court thing were we seeing yesterday? Yeah.
Is my audio?
It sucks, but we'll get through it and then we'll try and reconnect in a bit. I just need you to explain this real quick.
Basically, he was so that the defamation trial, the Alex Jones was it was a default judgment, which means Alex Jones didn't he didn't even try and defend. They've already found that he committed this wrong, so that part of the hurdle is done. Damages portion of the trial, and in the States, is to decide the damage award. Remember when we saw Amber Turner, the jury in that $2 million in damages awarded him. So it's the jury.
Robbie, sorry, buddy, I gotta stop you there. We're having a really hard time trying to get your audio. So would you be able to kind of pop out and pop back in again and just stay on your phone, and then we'll go from there? That'd be great. Make sure that you turn everything up.
I'll head over to my office. Actually,
okay.
I'm just up the street.
Yeah.
Get rid of the ear pods.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, buddy. Head over to your office and we'll talk to you then. There's Rob.
What he said. Sorry, Dean.
Well, no, go ahead, please.
I believe what he was saying is that the default judgment for the case has already happened because it's a defamation case. So the judge has already ruled that you did this thing, and now they're in the damages portion, the same portion as when the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard case, when the jury went back and then they had to come back with the number, and the judge sent them back with a different number. So they're in the damages calculation portion, and I believe, and Rob can correct me on this, does a different version of that and how it's actually done. And that's the portion that wherever state they're in. I think they're in Connecticut.
This is the civil part of the the case, though, right?
Yeah, because normally in a criminal case right now, the judge would be determining a sentencing, right? But this isn't criminal. Yeah. This is okay. You did the thing. How much do you need to pay for the thing you did? Essentially, is what they're trying to figure out.
Yeah,
well,
I
my understanding it's a little more involved than that.
Yeah,
my understanding was that the Sandy Hook parents, so he's a Sandy Hook denier. He's been raging against these families. He's been feeding it to his base, telling people Sandy Hook didn't happen. A dozen or so kids, maybe more, I can't remember the actual number, literally shot down in their class in Sandy Hook in 2012. And it was a big deal, right? It was like the first, it shocked the world. It was for the first time we'd seen a real school shooting where someone walked in and just offed a whole bunch of I think they were first or second graders, if I'm not mistaken. First graders. And it shocked me. It shocked the world. A friend of mine actually lived probably about 45 minutes away when he was in Connecticut. He now lives in Arizona. Long story short, he's a Trumper. Doesn't matter. But he pulled his kids out of school that day. He's like, fuck, I'm just going to pull my kids out of school. I can't even have them go to school. It's just one of those things that you couldn't trust America. He's a Canadian dude that moved down there. Anyway, so Alex has been
27 victims in Sandy Hook. And
27?
And I think not all of them were kids, because there was some adults as well. Not that makes any difference, but I'm
and one of the custodians and the shooter's mom. Yeah.
Anyway, it was a horrific incident.
He shot his mom before he went.
Yeah, and horrific incident, and Alex Jones used that as a springboard really into becoming who he is today, which is this guy that said, you don't have to worry about it. Let's protect the First Amendment. He got NRA money because of Second Amendment, NRA money because he had this big stance against, anybody that wanted to take guns away, and he said it was a hoax. He's been saying it's a hoax. And these poor parents who lost all these children have been baking in this guy using them as a front to make money for InfoWars, to feed his base bullshit. So he goes to trial, doesn't even defend himself, and he gets a default judgment, if I'm not mistaken. That default judgment was, hey, you're guilty. Let's go to the sentencing portion, see how much you owe these poor parents who've had to stew in your bullshit and your hatred and your vitriol over their dead children for the past, 10 years.
And abuse by the activated mob.
Yeah.
He has a following,
and
right?
it was... Yeah, and it like we see it today with the bots, right? Like you see the people that come after you when you put something out that's truthful, and they're like, "No, fuck you, you know what you're talking about." I mean, we all see it; it's every day. I've got news about a cool Russian bot farm that was shut down today too. We'll get to that a little later on.
Nice.
However, so Alex is in the fuck around and find out portion of his trial. Right now, the fuck around and find out portion of his trial has him answering questions to the prosecutor in front of a jury who's going to deliberate and decide how much Alex owes these poor parents because he's already lost. Like this is the, hey, how much do you owe portion of the trial, if I'm not mistaken. So yesterday, and we played this real quick in the program, and I want to play it again for you. Might have been one of the greatest gotcha moments I've ever seen in the history of a courtroom television series at all. I mean, it was one of the fucking greatest things you'll ever see, and it's right here.
Glove moment, in my opinion. Like, honestly.
Dude, and if you hate this duplicitous, lying fucking loser, if you hate this hateful piece of shit as much as everybody else hates this piece of shit, this is like, again, Christmas. I don't know whether to whack off or just keep watching it. I enjoy it that much.
I'm going to go get my lube. 1 second.
This, as you should. This is the moment when Alex Jones, Alex Jones finds out on the stand that his inept lawyers actually sent all the data from 2 to 3 years of his cell phone. Now I'm talking apps, browser history, emails, cell phone, saved documents, text messages, everything you do on your phone, all the information, because you can download all that information from your phone. It's actually super simple, and give it to somebody in paper form, or digital form. So they actually sent the digital form of every piece of data from 2 to 3 years of Alex Jones's phone, which he lied about and perjured himself and said none of this stuff was on his phone and that he had given everything to his lawyers. And now these lawyers that are prosecuting him are catching him in this lie. Live on court, in the courtroom, live as he's on the stand answering, and he just finished lying and saying he didn't do any of this stuff. It's one of the fucking greatest gotcha moments in the history of legal anything. You got to watch it. It's fucking great.
Did you know that 12 days ago, your attorneys messed up? They sent me an entire digital copy of your entire cell phone with every text message you've sent for the past 2 years, and when informed, did not take any steps to identify it as privileged or protect it in any way. And as of 2 days ago, it fell free and clear into my possession. And that is how I know you lied to me when you said you didn't have text messages about Sandy Hook. Did you know that?
I told you the truth. This is your Perry Mason moment. I gave them my phone, and then...
Mr. Jones, you need to answer the question.
No,
Did you know this happened?
No, I didn't know this happened. But I mean, I told you I gave them the phone over.
Mr. Jones, in discovery, you were asked, do you have Sandy Hook text messages on your phone? And you said no, correct? You said that under oath, Mr. Jones, didn't you?
I mean, if I was mistaken, I was mistaken, but you got the messages right there.
You know what perjury is, right? I just want to make sure you know before we go any further. You know what it is.
Yes, I do. I mean, I'm not a tech guy. I told you I gave, in my testimony, the phone to the lawyers before, whatever, and so you got my phone, but we didn't give it to you.
No, Mr. Jones. One more time. And please remember, if you need to assert the Fifth Amendment, you can. I need to know that you can do that. But you testified under oath previously that you personally searched your phone for the phrase Sandy Hook, and there were no messages. You said that under oath.
Yes.
And you lied when you said it.
No, I did not lie.
Wow. Wowza. I like the moment when he said, if you want to assert your Fifth Amendment, you can. And the look on his face while he was trying to figure out what the Fifth Amendment was just like, he's like, oh, wait, what's that? Oh, what?
Well, I think this guy is so in his own headspace of privilege based on whatever delusion he drinks.
Those lawyers are possibly in trouble as well. Yeah. I learned today, just so you guys know, the perjury thing stands for him, obviously, but at the same time, because it's now part of public record, it shows that the lawyers knew that these text messages existed and didn't intervene. So now they are up on subordination of perjury. they can be actually held liable criminally for that. Like this is a civil trial. This is a civil trial.
Did you see the body language of the lawyer when he got outed? You could just tell, just him sitting there. He was like, "Oh fuck, here we go."
Fucked.
So everyone is aware of what's going on. None of this was by accident, in my opinion. Am I wrong? I think that this was deliberately done. So by his lawyers.
Sorry to interrupt.
What do you mean?
I saw a really good theory on Twitter about this. I saw, I'm not sure who it was, but it was somebody that I've seen before. Alex Jones's issues don't stop with this Sandy Hook case. He's also being named as a person in the whole January 6th bullshit that's going on.
Yeah.
And what I'm to understand, and a theory that I think might be true, is that his lawyers had to turn over his cell phone to January 6th investigators and in mistake sent it to the wrong prosecutor, or in turn that prosecutor got their hands on it through that.
That's just took that. The January 6th committee just today put the formal request in to have those records sent to them. So that's okay. So it's probably a good theory, but it's still not. It's not something that
this was all in the breaking news of it yesterday that I saw that. I'm like, oh, that kind of makes sense, right? Because Alex Jones, like I kind of said, his issues aren't over with this. Like he's got all the January 6th shit now he has to deal with when that inevitably comes to fruition, whatever issues come from that, right? So
yeah, I'd love to hear Rob's thoughts on this.
Well, here he is.
I hope we can get him back.
Yeah, he is.
How are we doing, everybody?
Oh, fuck, you sound like a porn star now. Nice to see you. At our Kiv Law, if you want to follow a great defense attorney, that's our partner at Kiv Law Defense Lawyers. Rob Kivlikin joins us. We just played the video. Let me play it for you again because it's just fucking too good.
It is masturbatory.
See, dude, this is one of the greatest videos of all time. This is like the greatest gotcha moment of the biggest asshole language, maybe in the history of culture. Yeah,
you can see the hope leave his body. It's incredible.
Yeah, let's break it down together. Let's watch this.
Your attorney's messed up. They sent me an entire digital copy of your entire cell phone with every text message you've sent for the past 2 years. And when informed, did not take any steps to identify it as privilege.
Remember the lawyer's body language, too, if you can. That's his lawyer.
Right there, right there.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking incredible. Yeah.
That's the...
And as of 2 days ago, it fell free and clear into my possession. And that is how I know you lied to me when you said you didn't have text messages about Sandy Hook. Did you know that?
I told you the truth. This is your Perry Mason moment. I gave them my phone, and then...
Mr. Jones, you need to answer the question.
No,
Did you know this happened?
No, I didn't know this happened, but I mean, I told you I gave him the phone over.
Mr. Jones, in discovery, you were asked, do you have Sandy Hook text messages on your phone? And you said no, correct? You said that under oath, Mr. Jones, didn't you?
I mean, if I was mistaken, but you got the messages right there.
You know what perjury is, right? I just want to make sure you know before we go any further. You know what it is.
Yes, I do. I mean, I'm not a tech guy. I told you I gave in my testimony the phone to the lawyers before, whatever, and so you got my phone, but we didn't give it to you.
No, Mr. Jones. One more time. And please remember, if you need to assert the Fifth Amendment, you can. I need to know that you can do that. But you testified under oath previously that you personally searched your phone for the phrase Sandy Hook, and there were no messages. You said that under oath.
Yes.
And you lied when you said it.
No, I did not lie.
See, that's like, okay, that's actually really instructive because that's when you've got on a cross-examination, when you've got the person and you've like fucking got them, that's what it looks like. Like it's not, nobody ever goes, oh yeah, I was lying. Nobody ever says that.
No. Shocker.
But people, yeah, I lied to you. People don't say that in court. They'll backtrack and mumble and fumble fuck their words and all this stuff. But that's what it looks like when you're doing a great cross, or when you've absolutely got them by the short and curlies. It's incredible.
Okay,
and the fact that his own attorney can't actually object and try and like break it up that was the money.
He's gonna go back. That guy's gonna go back to his office in a strip mall and punch the wall.
Punch the cubicle wall.
Yeah. Like,
what's your theory, Rob? Was that done on purpose? Did his lawyers go?
Yeah, like how does that happen if it's not on purpose?
Yeah.
That's a great fucking point. Yeah.
okay, so
question.
JB is bang on in that this is the tip of the iceberg. He's not worried about. He's got other legal issues, much, ones that could compromise his liberty. He's not going to be able to pay his way out of certain charges that are likely forthcoming. So he's not. It wouldn't surprise me if that were a tactic. I think it's fucking backfiring in a big way. In terms of 1, how the lawyer looks, 2, how he looks, and 3, that defamation trial, he's done. They might get their full award.
Really? Like, what do you mean full award? Like, they're going to get, I don't even know how much they're asking for. Like, are they asking to clean him out? Because I don't know if you know this, but what else came out of that data from his cell phone? A whole bunch of information about how much money this fuck has. And he's got a ton of it. This is from Ben Collins at NBC. Lawyers for Alex Jones accidentally, that's fucking unbelievable, accidentally sent over the entire contents of the InfoWars founder's cell phone to the lawyers for the plaintiffs in his defamation trial, according to proceedings. Mark Bankston, a lawyer for the parents of one of the children killed in the 2012 Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre, and who's now suing Jones, said 12 days ago, his attorneys messed up and sent a digital copy of every text and an email from the phone. We just heard it after Bankston, who was the gentleman in that video, who's like, nah, I got you, dude. After Bankston told George the Sandy Hook parents' legal team had access to 2 years of his texts and emails, he asked Jones, do you know what perjury is? Like, they've had access to years of his emails and his cell phones and they sat there and watched him lie through that portion of the trial. Like, they just let him perjure himself, which is fucking unbelievable. Bankston didn't respond to requests for comment. An inquiry from InfoWars was not immediately returned. NBC has not independently acquired or verified the authenticity of the messages discussed by Bankston, the lawyer. Parents of victims are suing him for $150 million in damages after Jones claims the shooting was synthetic, a false flag, and the families of those who were killed were crisis actors. Fuck, what a douchebag. Jones has since apologized, claiming he has not personally published or signed off on Sandy Hook conspiracy theories. The phone documents also appeared to reveal InfoWars' long-hidden finances. Now, what are those? Fascinating stuff. You're going to love this. Do you know how much money he's made? Apparently close to $800,000 a day for the past 2 years. Jones previously claimed being deplatformed or permanently suspended from services like Twitter and Facebook had negatively affected the company's bottom line. He's since claimed bankruptcy, which you can actually see in this bankruptcy filing, saying, hey, listen, Free Speech Systems LLC, which is the parent company that oversees absolutely everything that he does, doesn't have any money. Now, on his phone, there's indications that not only do they have money, he's netted close to $300 million in the past year and a half. $800,000 a day, selling fucking fake supplements, like, the fake boner pills, Brain Force Plus, branded supplements, food, survival gear at 100% markup. At one point, bragged about the quality of the supplements. Neither Jones or his lawyers appeared to be aware Sandy Hook parents and lawyers had access to Jones' emails and texts. Like, his lawyers said, we had no idea, and it was a mishap. And it happened 12 days ago. And after 10 days, there was this period where they're like, hey, fuck, we can use anything we want out of that now. And so they did. Earlier in the trial, Jones said the highest figure his company made was $200,000 a day selling fake shit. Minutes later, taking questions from the jury, Jones claimed a $2 million judgment in the case will sink him. Free Speech Systems, the parent company of InfoWars, said they filed for bankruptcy. We showed you that thing. So he's cooked up a lie. Like, they sat and they fucking caught him in a lie, and they had all of his text messages, and they baited him into lying even more. Now, is that a cool strategy? Because it's going to cost him the fucking whole nut at this point, which is apparently $150 million. But does the judge not reserve the ability to charge him with perjury after that and increase that settlement amount in this case?
So I don't know about the settlement amount, but what will happen so far as perjury, because now he's looking at a perjury charge because they lie. And in the States, they go after people. Like, this isn't like, he's not nearly off the hook here. Like, you're right. They baited him into it. And this guy's such a fool that he took it. And it's kind of poetic because he's made his living, profiteering and taking advantage of dumb people himself. sorry, i.e. your quintessential Trump supporter. But no, like the matter will be referred to the local district attorney, similar to the local crown attorney down here, and and in turn they'll act with they'll review the transcripts and determine if the police should lay a charge. And it wouldn't surprise me because like they want this. Here's the point: is like even in institutions like the DOJ in the U.S., like these are smart people. They know that the election wasn't stolen. They know that Trump was poisoned. They know, like, these are all people that like are aware of how bad for democracy the last 4 years has been. These are people who are smart enough to look past his sort of charlatan and snake oil salesman tactics. Mm-hmm. And these are people that are very much committed and they're respectable members of the bar. So like, it wouldn't surprise me if they fucking go after the guy. Like, like watching that and reading the transcripts. And it's also funny. Like I was reading the article on CNN and they're like, his team accidentally, it's like, or in an apparent mishap was the phrase they used. And I said, that is never a good phrase when referring to somebody's legal counsel. That phrase and a lawyer should never be in the same, like on the same page.
For purpose, you get a lawyer, right? So you don't have mishaps.
Exactly. Like one, his lawyer looks incompetent.
Well, they're saying he's actually up on, like he could be up for subordination of perjury because of this.
Sojourning. Yeah.
Sojourning, is that what it's called?
Sojourning perjury, meaning basically.
Sojourning. Sorry, I had to write it wrong.
Basically,
yeah, right.
Sorry, no. Basically, it's if you allow perjury to go on. Fuck you, Locke.
What he's doing? He just got a text and he's like, "I better check that."
The primer.
I better check that mid conversation.
Hit the red button. Rob, hit the red button.
I'll see you at the lawn dart tournament, you heck.
Fly in. You can still get here in time.
I'm not. I just want to see because, like, apparently Jimmy is like, you just have to meet him. So I really just want to hang out with that guy for a day.
I don't know if you do. Yeah. I don't know if you do. I talk to him almost every day on the phone when Locke calls me for a show prep thing, and it's like talking to like the angriest old man you've ever talked to in your life.
Seriously?
Every time I talk to him.
It is. I think you get a little bit of what you deserve back because usually Teen, as soon as he finds out Jimmy's in the car, says something awful to him right away. That is. You go after him about religion, his weight, I mean, his breath.
That is not true.
You do. You attack him immediately.
You're the fucking best. You do things to me that I do to other people all the time. So I smell you coming a mile away where you make shit up to try to make people look absolutely terrible. But it's really the shit that you do that you're talking about. You're just putting it in coming out of my mouth. Because like I'll be on the phone with you. Yesterday I'm on the phone. I'm like, hey, was Jimmy in the car? He's like, his fucking breath is terrible. He says, like, he just smells his breath. And now he's telling me that I said it. I'm like,
why is his breath so bad?
Well, he doesn't brush his teeth.
Oh, we need to that's a whole podcast. Rob.
Yeah,
move on. Let's talk about
let's bring it back out of the lawn darts and the little person conversation back to Alex Jones being fucked and whether or not his lawyers are in trouble too, right? Because I've as a lawyer, how much of a fuck up is it when you accidentally send like the most incriminating portion that you're trying not to send to them and you haven't put in discovery and stuff like that? Like
what you were told not to send, and then you send that, so it's negligence. If it was a mishap, which on the surface, as of now, it is, it's negligence for sure. Like they and in the States, they sue people over nothing. So this guy's probably gonna get sued by Alex Jones. He could be up for like a professional review, similar to like disciplinary, the Law Society of Ontario's disciplinary proceedings. The lawyer's probably in trouble too, but Alex Jones is super fucked. Like that's my legal opinion. Seriously, like he's
and we haven't even touched on the child porn that they say they found on there. Like we're just talking about legal press, like legalese things. Like there's kitty porn on his fucking phone.
Mr. QAnon, where they're trying to save kids. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
So there's a breaking news that just posted now. I guess Alex Jones's lawyer tried to do a file for a mistrial today because of everything that happened.
It was denied.
It was just denied by the judge.
Yeah,
So
I thought that was that. I mentioned that yesterday. It sounded like a tactic to try and cause a mistrial, but there's no fucking way they're letting this go.
No, well, it didn't work if that was the tactic.
He was found, like, they found for the plaintiffs on a default judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he never filed a statement of defense. He never tried to defend himself against this. So he was found in default, and that's why. So, like I was explaining earlier before, like when my audio was shit. So in the States with civil jury trials, what they have the sort of the tortious liability or the tort or the civil wrong portion of the trial, and then if they're found to be liable, then they move on to the damages portion of the trial. They're in the damages portion. This guy's already been found liable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like they're the damages portion of his trial.
Yeah, he's as guilty as fuck. I mean, not showing up, not mounting a defense, not saying anything. That's a dude that's like, I'm dead to rights. Like, I can't go in there. And he's been trying to hide everything he can. And so they're like, hey, fucking guilty by default because you didn't mount the defense. Let's move to the sentencing portion or the discovery portion where we decide what you owe these families for being such a cock for the past 10 years, right? And subjecting these people to nightmarish trolling from like alt-right losers and assholes and people who just wanted to keep their guns, didn't give a fuck. These parents lost their kids, mothers lost their sons, dads lost their sons and daughters. I mean, it's a fucking nightmare. And so this judgment, and they're seeking $150 million. It seems like, I don't know, I could be wet behind the ears and I'm not a lawyer. It seems like all of that, combined with the fact his lawyers sent the most damning shit he'd been trying to hide from them for quite some time, and it was a concerted effort. It seems that these are just this is the start of how fucking awful this man's life will get. When you kind of look at that and then you run it through like the quick washing machine of like the legal parameters and how you understand the world works, what are we talking here for Alex Jones? Like, what is he just opened up for himself, and what are the possibilities for him?
I mean, jail on top of massive punitive damages award, on top of further charges for perjury, on top of whatever the January 6th committee is going to take from those text messages, and the Department of Justice will already take from his conduct with respect to the January 6th insurrection. And yeah, like I said, the perjury charge on top of that, and a massive damages award. He's so fucked. Like,
he's screwed.
If he's not scared, like, then I don't know what's going to scare this guy, because like I'm scared for him.
I hope he goes through one of those like federal pound you in the what prisons too. I hope it's not one of those like.
No, those are the state ones. You want state prison down there. State prisons where.
Can you pick one that doesn't do that?
No, it's all depends on the federal system as opposed depends on the charges down there. If you're charged, it's similar up here in terms of if the feds or the province are handling it. But they're down there. It's where you go to jail. It depends on, like, murder is a state charge. Okay. Whereas, perjury or whatever the DOJ, the Department of Justice would hit Alex Jones with over January 6th, that would be a federal charge. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that relates to where you wind up in jail in the States. A federal, all jails in the States are terrible, but the state ones are worse because they privatize a lot of them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. I have a friend that did some time in Dallas. Not a great time. State penitentiaries, not a great time, especially in the United States. Terrible time. Like, how was it? It's terrible. I'm like, what do you mean terrible? Nightmarish. I don't want to talk about it.
What did he do?
I don't want to talk about that either. But he did something he shouldn't do. Right?
He did something in Dallas. We'll leave it there.
He did something in and around the Dallas, Texas region. He spent a little time in the pen. Then there was this reciprocal agreement, right, where they if you did enough time, if you're a good enough person, and you're Canadian, you could apply for this thing, come back. So we finished his time off here. Nicest person in the world. Got caught up with the wrong crowd. And I'm like, what's state prison like? And he's like, I don't really feel like talking about it. And I'm like, I kind of do. I'd like to know what happens in state prison. He's like, no, I don't think you do. I don't think you really want to know what happens in those prisons. And then my next question was, did you get it? And he's like, no, I didn't get it. But I saw a lot of that, and I don't really feel like talking about it, to be honest with you. And I'm like, oh, I hope that happens to Alex Jones. Like, we literally had this conversation yesterday, and when we were talking, because I'm like, hey, what's it like in a maximum security U.S. penitentiary? And he's like, I don't really feel like talking about it. I just finished having dinner. I'm like, yeah, I know, but I want to talk about this Alex Jones stuff, like what kind of life he has in the pen, and it's not a lot of fun. And I've heard the same thing. He's like, there are certain penitentiaries where it's like, certain people like they get the wash. Like Conrad Black, he did a couple years in a penitentiary down in the States, and he got to play tennis, basketball, wear kind of jeans and a t-shirt, that kind of stuff. But then there's like other penitentiaries in the United States where you go and it is riot city every day. You cannot get something to eat without some guy sticking something in your side. You can't shower with any confidence at all. And I'm like, that's where I want Alex Jones. I want him in the place where when he goes to shower, he questions whether or not he should just go back to his cell and hang himself. That's what I want for his life.
Wow.
Well,
I completely agree in that Alex Jones is the worst.
Yeah.
The worst form of human.
Yeah, the worst of the worst. Sorry, JB, you were going to say something. Go ahead.
I just need to look it up. So loop back around at me here because I don't want to be wrong.
All right.
Anyway, I'm looking up. Yeah, perjury is punishable by capital punishment in some U.S. states. So depending on where he got arrested,
he's in Texas. I'm sure if there's a state that has the fucking death penalty for perjury, it's Texas.
Yeah, Texas is one of them. So
they wantonly execute people with Down syndrome down there. They're allowed to.
Yeah,
in Texas.
Yeah, and the child porn stuff would be a federal offense. Perjury is a federal offense. So I think.
So is there any truth to that, or is that are we just hanging that on this? Stuff. Are we just hanging that on this story because
I know we said it yesterday because there was this rumor there's this rumor going around, but the child porn thing was connected to a report from NBC's Ben Collins back in May, said that some of the material they sent had a connection to child pornography. It has since kind of died on the vine. We haven't really been able to say it. And when this story about Alex Jones came out, a bunch of people attached, and I'm just being honest here because I would love for them to find that on his phone too, because you know what they do to those guys in state prison? Way worse shit. Like fucking way worse shit. And he's such a douchebag. They'll put him to Gen Pop and they'll like whisper it into other like prisoners' ears. They're like, you'll never guess what was on Alex Jones's phone. And then they'll get the biggest, toughest, meanest guys who love to just protect children, but may have dealt some drugs in the past or off somebody in a gang war. And they were like, go get him. And then they'll open up the cell doors at night and people will pour into Alex's little cell. And then they'll give Alex, what for. But at the same time, and I know it's an awful thing for me to say, I believe he deserves it. I believe he deserves the worst of the worst of the worst in every situation, not only for the disinformation he's willingly farmed, but for taking advantage of a paranoid public, making $300 million this last year alone, selling fake survival medication, fake boner meds, fake heart medication, fake hair growth medication. This guy has sold so many bunk supplements that are absolute total bullshit, and people are so stupid that follow him, they've paid for it, right? He's made $800,000 a day for the past fucking year. Selling bullshit to people on top of the CPM and all the other stuff that he gets from actually doing the job that he used to do. And apparently he comes out of the courtroom yesterday and he's telling everybody, no big deal. This is a show trial. This is no big deal. What you saw there, Rob, that's not a show trial. That's not that is like the worst thing I have ever seen in my life when someone's like, gotcha. Watching him sweat, watching that fucking vacant look on his face was like, I could watch that all day. I probably watched that 40 times last night in a row and laughed harder every single time. And to the point where I prayed. I got on my knees after I watched it for the 40th time. I'm like, dear Lord Jesus, if you're real, please send him to a federal pound you in the you-know-what prison after this. Thank you. Amen. Like, that's literally, I was like, this is the only thing left for the guy. If we love Schadenfreude as much as we say we love it, why don't we all hope for the same things? I hope for terrible things for him. I hope that he gets turned into a piñata in prison. Literally.
Pincushion.
Yeah.
There's tough though, because I mean, if you're viewing outside looking in on the American legal system without a lot of knowledge, and Rob, obviously you come at it from a very different perspective because you're a lawyer and you have an understanding of the intricacies of it. But I mean, Bill Cosby went to Starbucks this morning and OJ teed off in Vegas for a round of golf. It just doesn't make any sense. Trump is a criminal and is probably going to run for re-election. So who knows what'll happen with Alex Jones? And nothing would surprise me based on some of these stories about if you have money down there, you seemingly can get away with anything. No, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is Alex Jones has made himself so unpopular that I don't think he's going to buy himself out of this. And there's certain things that they don't screw around with. Tax evasion. They jail everybody for tax evasion down there. And perjury. Perjury is a big thing down there. I don't know if he's going to talk himself out of this. They might not go after him for the perjury, but he's going to eat it on this defamation suit. And so far as if I were him, I'd be genuinely worried about January 6th.
Yeah, because that's incitement. Yeah.
And what those, because that's borderline treason, and those treason, sedition, these types of obscure criminal charges carry the worst penalties.
And he lives in Texas, and Texas, as you said, likes death penalty everything, and all those charges carry the potential risk of capital punishment, right? So it's
probably won't see that light of day, but it would probably get the severe end of an actual penal.
Like he's not going to buy himself out of this lock because he's got money.
Okay.
Like that's not hell. Martha Stewart did time. Like she did time in Camp Cupcake, but
Yeah, they give people time for stuff like this. Well, Rob, appreciate you kind of explaining it to us. And just as a lawyer, might be the worst thing you've ever seen? Yes? No?
In terms of his lawyer?
Yeah.
That's like, I mean, I've
Is that
looked
the
like
worst
a
thing
donkey
you could do
in
as a
court.
lawyer? Yeah.
I've looked like a donkey in court before, but like never like that.
My question is
this
they
did it on purpose?
Yeah.
Fair enough, Locke. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me with that guy because I mean he peddles lies to the public that he knows are false. He doesn't believe what he's saying. That's the type of person that he is. He peddles these lies to the public in order to profiteer. That's the type of person that he is.
$800,000 a day, like holy shit! Like you imagine what you would do for $800,000 a day. And we're pretty balanced, normal people, but just think of the morals that you could put into question and things that you could bend on if you were getting a paycheck like that, right? So it could be something along the lines of it went right to his head. Doesn't seem like an overly smart dude anyway, other than the business wise. And he's ruthless. He's got no moral. There's no moral compass with that man.
Alex Jones has a knack for getting people riled up. He has a knack for trending, right? That was his thing, right? Mm-hmm. He was this charismatic, energetic individual that got passionate about a particular political side of ideology. And what ended up happening was he kind of got caught. He kind of shot himself in the foot too many times. He pushed the line to get more risque. Sandy Hook happened. He said an even more risque kind of thing. And finally, the whole fuck around and find out analogy is he fucked around and he found out. And this is what's happening to him, right? It's kind of common, unfortunately, but it's Alex Jones is just a much more amplified sort of approach to that because of his following, right? So
no, it's fascinating. It's a great story. I mean, it happened right in the middle of the show yesterday when we were chatting with Andy Lee, which was fucking hilarious. And I'm like, we got to dig into this today, which is why I wanted to bring Rob on. From our partners at HELLLOOO Defense Attorneys, HELLLOOO Defense Lawyers. If you're looking for a great lawyer, and if you're looking for someone to explain the legal system and to help you get you out of trouble or get your life back, listen, you don't want to go through these things. Alex Jones is living proof of why you need good legal representation. Rob's that guy, and
I'm not that bad. No, I'm not as bad as his guy. Okay.
What's one of the most embarrassing things that happened to you in court, Rob? Before you go, if you got a quick one.
So my very first court appearance was at College Park in Toronto, which is like it's basically everybody from downtown that winds up in the criminal courts. So it's like the east side of downtown. Do you know what I'm saying? Like Eglinton and
Moss
South.
Park.
Like, yeah, you're getting Moss Park, Regent Park, the whole, yeah. And although Regent Park's not Regent Park anymore, it's like fucking $8 lattes now and condos.
It's true, actually.
And so the Regent Park of my childhood, when it was like, I dare you to go to Regent Park. Like now it's like, I drove through there. I'm like, this isn't fucking Regent Park. Like, what's going on here? But yeah, a little tangent there. But so I was in College Park, and there was and it was my first day as a lawyer, my very first day as a lawyer. And I get sent in to go do some speak to appearances. It was the day after there was a really bad Canada Day weekend with shootings in Toronto. This was about 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
So it was the Monday after that weekend. And I go in, and this was news. They sent me in to do a quick court appearance because the person was in bail court. And I remember I walk in, and there's like news, there's like journalists. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I'm so scared. And I remember I walk in, and it's with this particularly tough judge at College Park, who I won't say his name, but he's known to be quite prickly. I don't even know what to say. Like, I just go up and I'm like, I'm Robert Kivlikin. I'm a lawyer. Kind of like, I have no idea what to do, right? Like, I'm just sent in there to go handle this appearance. No mentorship. And the judge looks at me, sizes me up right away. He's got no patience for my bullshit. And he's like, speak up. And I'm like, and this girl was accused of like a horrific thing, right? And she's on video in the female cells at College Park. Because there's male and female cells. And then I'm like, he's like, looks like you got to go downstairs and speak to your client. And he's like grinning at me. And I'm like, so scared. I'm like, I'll go back to fucking bartending. Like, this is because like, first of all, this girl was accused of like the most horrible shit. I didn't want to meet with her. And then like this judge is yelling at me in a packed courtroom. There's like 200 people in the courtroom. Like, I'm just getting dressed down. Yeah. That was pretty mortifying.
That's
and we've had some tough first days, my friends, haven't we? That's a tough first day.
Yeah. I've never seen one. Like, and like I went down and I talked to her, and she's like, and I like she just turned around on me, like she's like, I've had enough of you, and just turned around in the chair. Oh, and like, there's glass between us, and I was like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Like,
yeah. First big court appearance right out of law school, 7 years, couple $100,000 in education fees. Yeah. And you're like, this is going to be a lot of fun for the rest of my life.
Yeah. That's I think awesome. We'll go back to bartending. Fuck this. Yeah. Like,
anyway, dude, appreciate you being here. Thanks for doing this, Robbie.
Thanks. Peace out, guys. Thanks, and Alex Jones sucks.
Yeah, he sure does.
Good to see you, Rob.
Follow Rob at rkivlaw is where you can find him. Kivlaw Defense Lawyers, kivlaw.ca. Robert at kivlaw.ca if you've got a pressing legal issue.
Still need help with those speeding tickets, Rob.
He doesn't do law out in Alberta, dude. He's not.
He said he was going to write a letter for me.
No, he's not going to write a letter for me. No, it's not entrapment. No, it's not entrapment. A lot of people think we trapped Andy Lee yesterday. Do you guys do you feel the same way? Do you think
I didn't think that?
By Andy Lee was no.
Did that seem like a thing to everybody?
No.
I haven't gone through the whole episode yet. I'm still going through it. I still have notes, but no, it seemed fine. I mean, she seemed pretty willing to be there. Like it didn't, you openly said, Dean, you said, hey, we're going to disagree on things and we're going to agree on some things. Locke, you provided your sort of like, are you a politician comment to try to lighten the mood? Like it seemed very like welcome and open, right? She was there. She stayed for the thing, right? So she didn't rage quit.
Well, it's weird because it was the first time, like, and I said this yesterday because it was the first time I've had like one of those people on the show. That just sounds terrible.
All right,
one of those people.
I thought about that. I think you missed one. You had Chris Sky. Remember?
Yeah, but he was like, but he was he was a roadside attraction, right? And I know Andy's a roadside attraction, but if you don't know who Andy Lee is, she's and I think by and large she's a bit of a circus act herself as well. Although I said this yesterday, great of you to come on. But JB, how would you? Because you've been, you've had issues with this person. She's like a real vector for disinformation. She says she does research and she shares her research, but she's like a rabid fan base of people who, and I think it's by design. I think when you've got someone like that willingly says, "I'm trying to take down the government," like she tweets that all the time. I'm here to take down the government. She's tweeted it hundreds of times, and obviously, clearly not going to take down the government with an attitude like that, is she? But like we had her on because I'm like, I got to talk to someone like this and ask them about their belief system. And I'll just go through Cole's notes of what I think we dealt with yesterday. I think we dealt with someone who believes that they are something that they are not. I believe we dealt with someone yesterday who completely minimized her involvement in organizing and being part of the convoy for obvious legal and public reasons, right? She doesn't want to be considered a certain person. She doesn't want to let go of those things. I don't believe she told us the truth. I believe that the minimization in regards to what she talked about and as far as her role in the convoy and disinformation in this country, and again, a major vector for disinformation. And I've gotten a ton of heat from that as well over the past couple of days. Don't care because it's truth. And but I believe that she wants to use this as a springboard to a new life, a new career that she's not actually quite reaching or touching because obviously a lot of the stuff that she advocates for is literally fucking insane. So you watched it yesterday. Ryan, I want your opinion on it. I fucking loved having her on because I think we need to have these conversations to sanitize different things. And I think, by and large, my strategy is here's a bunch of rope, have some fun. That's how I look at these interviews. I always have, always will. I don't
even think it was that deliberate. I think we just brought her on to see what would happen. I mean, we talked about how to strategically handle her based on what we know from her online persona.
Yeah.
When we were going in. But at no point do I recall you going, we're going to get this girl. Like it was never that. Yeah. It was always, let's throw this on and let's see what happens here. This might be interesting content. And you said exactly what you just said to me on the phone. We have a little pre-meeting before our podcasts every day or almost every day. You said exactly that. I think I'd like to talk to somebody that has this belief structure just to see if we can glean any sort of recognizable reason for why they do it, like, and why they have gone this path, right? I'll let Ryan and Sheep King jump in here, but I want to add something to we haven't touched on my theory about her.
Please.
But I don't need to do it now.
Well, dude, let's get to your theory and then we'll get to Ryan and JB because you just teed it up, right? That's like radio 101. Right, you teed it up. Hit it.
I was trying to do a tease.
Tease, no tease. Just tease it
up.
To tease
no commercial breaks. Just
let's go. Yeah, that's good. Hit it. What's your theory?
Okay. I think that this is someone that got introduced to a movement, brought in on whatever level, it doesn't matter. And because of her personality, and I don't know how honest she is with herself, because of her personality traits, really enjoyed the attention and the notoriety that she got. And I think she questions the being involved in that group. I think on a certain level, I think she does worry about the association and is doing everything she can to manipulate how the rest of the world views it to fit her own narrative, because right now the attention she's garnering from it is more important to her than the negative aspects of it. Is that fair?
Totally. Yeah,
totally
I'm
fair.
Picking up what you're laying down. What you're saying is that she desperately wants to be someone in this movement, minimizes what the movement's all about, wants to ascend to something into this weirdness, and she's not doing a great job of it, and things aren't going awesome for her. Right? Is that kind of what you're saying?
I think she likes the attention
exactly
more than she kept the negative negativity of the movement overall.
Which is the thing, right? Yeah.
For her. So in her mind, she's sort of established is what I'm going to do with this. And she overlooks the negativity of it and is riding this wave of whatever she gets from the notoriety of being involved. That's the sense that I got. Yeah. Anyway, I didn't say that well. I didn't present that well. So I'm glad you understood it.
No, I got it. I have a couple notes and some of the things that she was saying, and keep in mind, I haven't gone through the whole interview yet because Dean, I messaged you at 2, being like, oh my God, you had Andy Lee and come on. And so I had a quick hour to go through it all. There was a couple of things that I noticed. So she said that she was somebody with an Irish Ukrainian background and couldn't even pronounce
the accent.
Well, she couldn't even pronounce Kiev right. She was saying Kiev, which is actually the Russian way to, and a Russian propaganda way to say that name. So that originally told me that, you know, despite her roots, and I'm not denying her Ukrainian roots, there is definitely some overlying fact that she is being fed some misinformation somewhere, whether that be on Twitter or from the people around her or what have you. And kind of to your point, Locke, I think there was, somebody who covered the Freedom Convoy quite extensively, like that was my platform from January to March and still kind of is. There was a lot of people that attached themselves to that called themselves, you know, journalists or called themselves reporters, right? And they got a lot of followers from it and they got a lot of clicks from it. And if you wrote a story about the Freedom Convoy, and as I experienced too, you got clicks from it. It worked because everybody was talking about this, right? And the thing that rubbed me the wrong way was when she actually brought up the memorandum of understanding, right? That she saw it and still proceeded to continue on with the movement, despite in the MOU, it's saying that they want to directly replace the sitting government that we have, which, if that's not a red flag for any, like if I was backing a movement, if I saw this movement starting up in Toronto or something, and I was like, I kind of like this, what they're saying. And then I found out that, you know, with my influencer status and I joined the movement, and they said, oh yeah, we kind of want to go to Ottawa and overthrow the government. I would go, you know what? I'm going to take a step back from this, right? I can't get behind that. Right. So, and I think you kind of saw that a little bit with the thing she was saying, where she was like trying to separate herself from it.
Yeah.
But also let's not also forget to point out that she ran for the Maverick Party, which is a far right separatist movement in Alberta and the western part of our country. Like that's not ignore that. Like that's ran as
fault.
a candidate.
I shouldn't have let that slip. I've had Maverick people on my show, and I knew that was that she was look over here. I knew that was a little bit of deception on, but I there was too much going on. I didn't want to sidetrack us by a conversation about the fucking Maverick Party and their philosophy.
And I talked to
Didn't the memorandum of understanding also say that they were going to hang Justin Trudeau?
Yeah, I believe it said something along the lines of if Justin Trudeau doesn't step down, I'd have to double check. But if he doesn't step down, we'll forcefully remove him from power or something along those lines, right? Which you can leave that up to interpretation about what that means, right?
I thought they legitimately said they were going to hang him.
Yeah. Well, there was that rhetoric, and this is a common thing because I talk to these people every day. Like, this is my show. Like, I talk to people like Andy Lee every time I do a show.
Sorry.
And it, they always say to me, like, JB, you weren't there. You weren't there. You weren't there. Well, first of all, I know Ottawa very well. So it was like I was there, right? I saw my city. I saw what was happening to my city. The second thing is, and I put this in my book, these fools filmed it themselves, including Andy Lee, live streaming every day, walking around, showing the crimes that they committed, showing the actions that they're doing, trying to rally behind people. And she made the comment that there was over 10,000 people there, despite Ottawa Police, the City of Ottawa, the Parliamentary Protection Service, all saying they only counted under 5,000 people at the peak of the protest. Right? So like there's this sense of like this, there was this big movement when in really it was small. It was very small, but they were loud, they were annoying, and ultimately, and the courts are kind of proving that right now, they broke the law. They broke charter rights one of having a free and civil society, whatever the wording of that is, right? So yes, you have a right to assemble. Yes, you have a right to protest, and go protest on Parliament Hill. Do you know how many protests I've seen on Parliament Hill when I lived there? It would be every day. There'd be somebody with a sign or a blowhorn yelling something, but then they go home at the end of the night, and then they let life go on. And then they come back the next day, or they come back next month, or whatever. They don't stand on Wellington Street for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
you know, but you're touching. You can say, I put this in my book.
And you're a best-selling author. Yeah. Gives us a lot of room to move, actually. Thank you. So best-selling author on the Convoy, best-selling Convoy author, JB Sheep King.
Still number one to this
is
very
still
minute.
number one. Yeah, I know you are. Go get it. It's called Reasons for what's it called again?
In favor of the protest.
I'm waiting for the audio book, and then you're going to get my money.
Yeah. Well, no, it's better. Canada's going to get the money. But anyway.
No, but my point is this: is that you give us leeway because you're a best-selling author, which is nice. A lot. Great call. But what you're talking about is like reality, right? What I heard yesterday from Andy, again, full marks for just showing up. This is a tough place to be.
Sure.
But what I heard from Andy was the opposite of everything you just said. And we gave her lots of space, lots of room to move. We gave her the opportunity to express herself. And it was funny when she was talking about her political affiliation with the Maverick Party, when she was talking about, it's only one Nazi flag, it's just one bad apple. It is, none of it was intellectual. None of it was academic. It was all the same talking points. The same talking points that we see all the time now, where they're like, well, tell us how it wasn't peaceful, right? It's just this circular fuck job of like, tell us how it wasn't peaceful. Show me where it says in the MOU that we were going to hang Trudeau. Show us where we weren't peaceful. And the other one that they use all the time, you weren't there. I got that like 4,000 times. You weren't there. You can't tell us exactly what. No, as a matter of fact, Karima was there, and we had her on every day for hours and hours and hours at a time. Yeah. And we can read and we can see, and the news that we watched and the actual first-person videos that we had told us you were a bunch of pissed drunk fucks that showed up to take out the prime minister and the duly elected government of this fucking country, which Andy still continues to talk about to this day.
How she just tweeted out before we came on. One more thing I just wanted to share, and then I would love to hear Ryan's points too. When I was in university, we had to take an ethics class, right, to talk about ethics and politics, and because I studied this. And there's a theory in ethics called the kitchen table, and it's you have a dinner party, and you put 10 people around the kitchen table, and one person at that kitchen table says they're a Nazi. If the 9 people don't, if the 9 people don't call out that Nazi, then you have 10 Nazis at the dinner table. And that's I genuinely believe that, right?
Yeah, it's like you're in a Nazi dinner party, right, Linz? Like that's we all think the same thing. If one Nazi shows up and he's got wearing Nazi gear and he's like, "Hey, you doing? I'm a Nazi." You're like, "I can't stay at this part." Like no self-respect.
I never took ethics, and you don't need to take ethics in fucking university to know that when you're at a gathering and that imagery shows up, that it's over, that the party's over, it's time to go home. Any normal human functioning brain goes,
thanks for your time. I'm going to grab my shoes.
Someone's going to take a picture. That's going to be behind me. I need to go home. What are we having for dinner? I was thinking of that beer butt chicken, honey. I'll grab one on the way home. Like, go home.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Linz, your take?
No, you're right. And at the end of the day, it should have been the first thing that should come to your brain is, what do you think of the host of that party now? And that would be whoever organized the convoy. So if they're allowing those guests at their dinner party, now you should call into question the morality of the host. So you're allowing it. You're promoting the continuation of it if you keep going. So I totally agree. It was nothing that like if you were to not watch the show and then you went on Twitter right afterwards, you would have thought that Dean and Lachlan were misogynistic bullies from the comments that came from the Andy Lee supporters, which was the furthest thing from reality, which is the world that they live in, is an altered reality of if you don't agree with them, you're a homophobe, you're a groomer, you're a piece of shit, misogynist. Like they literally just throw back. Yeah, they throw back the same things that we have receipts on them for at us. And it's just, they're very unoriginal when it comes to that. So they just can't be bothered to look beyond the rhetoric and beyond the noise and watch the actual show. Like, it was there for them to watch. You could have just watched it and seen that you guys were incredibly cordial, very polite. At points there was, very contained. There was points where things were disagreements arose, and you guys worked it out. It was a great show.
Dean and I started screaming at each other.
Exactly. Like, you guys, the infighting on our side was worse than the any sort of horrible thing. You guys didn't say anything horrible to her. And but
podcast, though.
That's how this works. This is how that side fuels itself. They just they just keep talking and talking about how horrible fucking devil worshiping fucking whatever they want to call us this week, you know? So it's not based in fact. And that's where I come into I have a problem with it, is because why bother? Why even bother, right? I don't understand it. And I get it from a content perspective that what we do is what we do. But why waste the time and the effort and the energy on talking to people that are just not in the same reality sphere as you and me and the rest of the world? I want
to see it, because
I do this. I do this 3 nights a week, right?
I'm excited.
I know. And I don't know how you do it.
I don't either. I want to break it down. Like yesterday, and I meant what I said when I'm like, I've never talked to one of those people before. And she's got a decent platform and seems to be a vector for a ton of hate and disinformation. And yesterday, to your point, as soon as she's done the show, she's like, I had a great time. Thanks for having me. And I'm like, yeah, it was great to see you. And I said this several times, and I tweeted this several times. I disagree with absolutely everything she said, and I don't think she's based in reality. And I legitimately hope she gets help. Like, I hope everybody in that community gets a bunch of help so they can get back to terra firma and get on with their lives instead of like. But what I heard yesterday from her were the repeated talking points and rhetoric of the victim class and the victim industry of this country. It is all victimhood. And if they can take that victimhood and somehow massage it like it's fucking Play-Doh and go, look at this, again. Now look at me, I'm a victim. Someone give me money. Someone like I'm somebody here with the rest of you victims, but like I'm chief victim. That's what I heard yesterday. And I would say that to her as well. As lovely as she was to, talk to, we didn't get the Twitter version, which you brought up yesterday. We didn't get the social media version. We didn't get the Convoy version of Andy Lee. We got the
I'm taking over the government. Andy Lee wasn't here yesterday.
Yeah, we didn't get that part yesterday.
No.
Can I say something though? I was a little bit taken aback at the volume, because it came fast and furious. As soon as we were done with her, my notifications were just like I still haven't been able to keep up. It's been going nonstop for 24 hours. And there's
libtard?
Stuff
you
that
get called a libtard, shittard. Do you get called?
We got called everything,
lib.
but I just shit lib.
Shit lib.
But there was a different level of trying to express myself here so that it makes sense. There was in the past, when I've been drawn into that side of things, when I've made comments on this show or my show or on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, when I've been drawn into it, the hatred was fast and furious. This was a different level of hatred. It was almost a confusing. They didn't know how to come at us, because I think they realized that we did give her some room to move, and that maybe we don't all agree, but they weren't able to go, you guys are a bunch of fucking idiots. Blah, blah, blah. Like, it wasn't that weird kind of crazy violent anger that you get from that group. Sometimes, not all of them are like that, but I just noticed it was just down a notch. Like it was like sort of a medium hot sauce compared to a habanero hot sauce. Like it was more of a jalapeno, right? If I can use a hot sauce reference.
As the food and beverage director,
did you guys,
that's a good I think that's a good.
Did you guys get that sense that when they were coming at us, it wasn't violent?
Yeah, because I was tagged in it too. Because I was tagged in the show, right? Like we were all tagged in the show tweet, so that's where all the conversation came to. So I was watching it as it came through, but I didn't jump in because A, I wasn't on that part of the show for a reason, and B, I don't have that gear. I don't have the gear to entertain it. And what you said is perfect. It's literally a glitch in their matrix. When you actually haven't done anything wrong, you just had a conversation with somebody that they like and they don't like you, and they have nothing, but they need to talk. They need to say something. And it messes them up. So that part's entertaining for me. I loved watching that go on all night last night, just because they were literally just throwing darts. It was like throwing darts with a blindfold on to try and hit something. Fuck you, Lachlan Cross. Fuck you, Dean Blundell. Ryan, you're a piece of shit.
Misogynist.
Yeah,
like
misogynist
we
was big.
didn't say anything misogynist. I got called a misogynist in the chat portion of the program today about 400 times. And you're a misogynist, and you're a misogynist, and you're a misogynist. Even though we're all by the way, just so you know, we're all beta male misogynists today.
They learned that's a real thing, I guess.
Is that?
I guess so.
Hold on.
Yeah, that's a new thing. That's a new one of their things. It's like misogynist.
Do you know how many times I get called a beta male on my show?
How do you become a beta and a misogynist? Wouldn't an alpha be the misogynist?
Well, yeah, they get it all mixed up. The same people that call you a commie fascist. It's like, holy fuck, dude, it's like both sides in the same hyphenated word. That is unbelievable.
Okay, but hold on. Let me interject here, because I know JB wants to add something to it.
Yeah, sure.
Is that hot sauce comparison analogy? Is that progress? Can we maybe say that we did some good yesterday, even though we didn't always agree? The fact that I'm just trying to help you out, Ryan, because I know you were adamantly against putting Andy Lee on the podcast yesterday. You didn't think it was a good idea, and you didn't even want to be involved.
Right. I think that's a good way of looking at it, and especially today. I had a chat with Dean today, off the air, about yesterday, and I agree. I may have read the situation wrong, because after watching you guys do what you do, and you do it very well, I just don't think I'm not as seasoned as you guys when it comes to dealing with opposite people on a spectrum that don't live in reality. Like I don't talk when I pull up to a traffic light. I don't talk to the guy screaming with the sign at the island, because I know I won't. I'll give him some money, but I won't actually converse with him and ask him what he thinks about world politics or what he thinks about the current leadership of the country, because I know I'm not gonna get anything out of that conversation. Why am I wasting my time? I understand though why we do it here. And it is to spotlight it. It's to spotlight. This is what we're all trying to deal with. We're all trying to understand it.
This is where we're at.
But I don't think we're ever going to get an answer. I just don't. I think we're going to keep digging. JB has been doing a show 3 nights a week live with these people, the same fucking show 3 nights a week for 2 years or a year, however long your show's been on. And it's literally, you could literally turn on a show from 6 months ago, or you can watch the live show tomorrow, and it's the same show.
Yeah.
I just can't do it.
Have you turned anybody though, JB? Have you had an impact on anybody?
Yes, I have. Okay. I've gotten a couple emails from people. This one guy, his name was David. David and I spoke right around when the convoy was going on, like at the heat of it. And David was a vigorous convoy supporter. He was there in Ottawa. He attended it. He stayed for a couple days and then went home. He lived somewhere in Quebec. And a couple weeks later, after all the arrests happened and the full situation started to become evident about what this thing was.
What do you mean arrests? It was peaceful. Duh.
Sure. Duh. Yeah. Okay. Andy. So the No, but David came back on the show about a month later. This was well into March. Should try to find the clip for you guys. And apologized. He said I was wrong. You were right. This thing was wrong. And it was, I gave him some sort of people to look at, things to look into, because I'm a big on history repeats itself, especially in far right movements. I wrote my whole thesis on that. And it happens. This exact thing has happened elsewhere in the world before. And it's happening again in the Netherlands with the farmers' protest. And it'll happen again somewhere else in a couple of years.
It makes money.
It makes money. It gets people angry. It pushes people to a side of politics that the only way that can actually get support is if they drive fear and drive anger. Like that's how they get popular, right?
To dig even further, though, capitalism and the inequities of it, the imbalance of it, does breed this, and we have seen patterns of this in history as well, right? That's why we have communist movements, even though everybody knows that communism ultimately doesn't work either. But it's the reaction to what we're dealing with right now, which might be there's too many billionaires right now.
Capitalism to this extent, like you're talking about the inequity of capitalism to this extent, is only here for one reason only: fascism.
Yep.
Yeah. Fascism
the thing with
and
capitalism
capitalism are like besties. And if you want the kind of capitalism we see that is destroying every class, every system, every institution, human beings, inability to live, inflation through the roof, profit taking, fascism. So if you wonder, hang on one second. If you wonder who it is that is putting money into the disinformation machine, who it is that's paying the National Post and Post media companies, who's paying True North, who's paying Rebel, who's paying those fucking losers that want to push the fences of kindness and decency and equality out as far away from themselves as possible, look no further than capitalism, because if it doesn't exist, what we see today doesn't exist. And to the point where I had a conversation with our publisher, our CEO, a guy named Jack, great guy. And we're talking today about content, right? This is a true story. I had this conversation today. And we're talking about misinformation. And I put out an article insinuating that Jordan Peterson may be a Russian asset. And he called me on it. And you know why he called me on it? He's like, listen, if you want to do that, you're going to have to do, because you don't have like legitimate information that he is for sure a Russian asset. It was all tongue in cheek. I got what he was saying. We've amended the post. But he said, if you want to really make money at this, like if you want to make the kind of money that you didn't think it was possible to make, you would take this. He told this to me, and you would turn it into a True North or a Rebel, because there's a ton of money out there for that.
Yep.
This is a guy that is hooked in to all the agency business, all the people. And there is it is a dark, weird, crazy secret that the real money, if you want real money as an influencer, if you want real money as a brand, if you want real dough, you chase it with the dark crazies and you go full on dickhead. Like you have to, if that's what you want, because capitalism and fascism are footing the fucking bill, from Koch brothers, the Koch brothers Institute, to the Fraser Institute, to Chatham Asset Management, which owns 66%, and it's a David Pecker company, TraegerU. I mean, you have dozens, if not hundreds, of think tanks that are well stocked with capitalist fascist dough from people that we all know exist, whether it's Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, or all of them feed money in so that they can be allowed to operate freely and continue to profit take on the backs of individuals. Now, I am not a conspiracy theorist in the slightest. I am telling you where the money is and why people chase that content. It made so much more sense to me after that conversation today about what our job should be in the atmosphere, the environment that we all play in, the digital advertising, media content. And we had a long strategic conversation about what is our role here then, if we're going to be a sustainable business, podcast network, blogosphere that take accountability pretty fucking seriously. And we have a strategy, and we're going to work on that. But that is the lay of the land of the, let's say there are 1,000 blogs of decent average size in this country. I had a conversation with another person that works in the government, and they will go unnamed. 70 to 80% have taken money from foreign entities, foreign advertisers, ad agencies to purport stories or to post, they're called sponsored links, to put sponsored links on behalf of conservatives, church groups, fascist organizations, theocratic organizations that are literally trying to make the world a worse place. It's called flooding the zone with bullshit. And that's where the money is. Like if you were a decent human being and someone came up to you and you're a struggling blogger, podcaster, and you don't have a ton of money, and someone's like, listen, all you got to do is pivot just a little bit left. Got to be a little bit like Andy Lee. You got to be a little bit like Slipinski. You got to be a little bit like these other fucking losers. If you want to be that person, and you can do it for 3 to 5 years. 3 to 5 years, this stuff will all be over. We're going to be through this weird fucking fascist capitalist fuck you cycle where people get a chance to kind of run around and act like assholes with zero legal implications, like zero. So if you want to do that for 3 to 5 years, you're going to make some money. You'll make enough to live. But here's the problem. In 3 to 5 years, you're going to be on the fucking scrap heap of those fucking losers, kind of like when the Nazis came back from, the SS and the Einsatzgruppens, and they come back, and you are going to have no purpose. You're going to not be able to make any money. They all went to NASA. No, just the important ones that knew science. That's where they go. Anyway, I wanted to kind of explain
Alex Jones was making $800,000 a day, like $800,000 a day, selling $800,000 a day.
Yeah,
because of shit like this. You're right.
So
you've got people like Andy Lee going, I want some of that, and I love the notoriety, so get me some of that. And I can only listen. Did I believe most of the things she said yesterday? No, I didn't. Because the facts of the matter say completely otherwise. When she was like, well, there's only one Nazi flag there. I'm like, you and I both were like, you fucking insane. What did you not? You said you were there, and what you're doing is lying.
He called her out.
So I don't believe that she doesn't get paid.
Things.
I really don't. I don't believe that she isn't reimbursed somehow. So
I have a theory, and I've been noticing this more and more, especially on TikTok and especially on Twitter, that we truly don't know the magnitude of how many people were charged in Ottawa during the convoy. We have a number. We know it's about 700 or whatever the number is. We don't know if that includes Andy Lee. We don't know if that includes other individuals. And what I'm finding now as we get into the summer months and these court cases start to continue on, is you're seeing more and more people start to separate themselves from the convoy. They're like, oh, I was there, but I didn't really agree with this, that, and the other, which, if you fast forward or rewind to February, they were hard supporters. They were holding the line. They had they were in the hot tubs. They were dancing in the streets. They were doing it all. And I think there is a little bit of protection going on for themselves here. I'm not going to say the name of the creator because, he's trying to do what's right. But he's completely done a 180 on the whole convoy on TikTok because he hasn't said he has, but I think he got his ass arrested because he was one of the people that was standing right at the front of the line with the cops. And I saw it on video and I called him out for it at that time. Right. And I think he was one of the people that got yanked across and yoinked away. And now he's trying to save his ass and save his character. And I think you're seeing a lot of that.
Yeah, dude, which is what we saw from Andy yesterday, right? We saw her saying, oh, I was just there to document. I didn't do any of that stuff. It was like this opportunity to rehabilitate somewhat of her image in amongst the people that might listen to this show. Yeah. I don't know what she was trying to do. But again, and I'm happy to have her on. And I told her this yesterday, disagree with everything you said. I'm not going to sit there and give her an opportunity to tell fucking stories out of school without saying, hey, let's talk about these things, because none of those
bring
things
receipts.
Actually happen. Yeah, bring receipts.
I had a bit of a flashback to my childhood when I was watching the Twitter thread this morning or yesterday. I can't remember when, but somebody posted a video of her dancing, and she danced like my mom back in the 70s outside of the teepee. Like that whole. The only thing missing was a
from
Seinfeld. My mom,
the peace and love.
A moo-moo. That arms back out. Yeah.
Exactly. Back to your point about the money, though. Did you hear about the CEO of Lululemon, Chip Wilson, gave $380,000 to like some extreme right wing candidate in BC to help defeat socialist opponents, starting with this October. And this is for a municipal election. This is not a federal. This is for a fucking mayorship or a city councilor. So you're right. Money. Capitalist politics is exactly to your point, Dean, is anybody that's crazy and has money can push an entire society whichever way they want to. They can grab it by the horns and run it. So, yeah,
but it also goes back to why our politics on both sides are so extreme too. And again, we brought this up before, and it wasn't something that I thought of. It was something that was brought up to me. I think it was Mark out of Calgary, but he was saying, you know, listen, if you consider yourself a centralist, answer this one question: have you ever donated money to a political party? And I'm like, no. He goes, well, there you go. There's your answer. That's why we have extreme positions in politics in this country and around the world in democratic nations, because they still need money to operate. And unfortunately, people that have their wits about them don't give money to politics. And then I'm in the room with my co-hosts, myself, Grant, and James, and I'm like, who's donated to a political party? And Jimmy's like, I have. And I'm like, well, I don't need any more fucking proof than that.
That was the Reform Party.
The guy that basically, oh yeah, it was total fucking Reform Party. Like, I don't need any other proof than that. The guy's like literally is paycheck to paycheck, is minimum wage, but will go out of his way to donate to a political fucking party. He's a lunatic. He has crazy opinions about politics. Right? Yeah. We've done it to ourselves, though.
And at what point do we all look at it and say it's time to take donations out of politics? It's time to take personal donations, and it's time to take, especially business. A business can't vote. A business doesn't vote. Why are businesses donating to politics? Why are we allowing this to happen? It makes no sense to me. I've said this from the get-go.
Well, and there was the whole vote compensation. So you used to get, you still do, where you get money for every vote you get in an election. Like the government will pay you. Yeah, that's the thing. So you get, it used to be $1 or something, or like a penny or something for every vote. But then the law got passed in the Stephen Harper days that raised it for the big parties. So the Conservatives, the Liberals, the NDP, any federal party that runs in every riding gets more money than the smaller party does. So what it does is it prevents small parties from ever really getting up into any real.
I had no idea this was happening. Did you guys know that was a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah.
Now it's to compensate for their time to gain that voter is the argument, but
we've let it fester so bad that it's polluted the entire process of democracy in any Western democracy. It started with America, and it's seeping its way here.
Fester is an excellent word for it.
Yeah.
There is one more point I wanted to get to, and I know Dean and I talked about this just before you guys joined. When you guys were talking about the arson story that linked.
Oh, thank God you were not talking about docking. I thought you were going to talk about when we talked about docking.
No, the arson story, because she was somebody apparently, and I remember when this broke, I think I talked about it on my show with her story, how the arson story and the person that, the two individuals that were alleged to burn down the lobby of an apartment building were not linked to the Freedom Convoy. And the thing that they ran on, and that side ran on, was that the police themselves said this was not linked to the Freedom Convoy. And they ran with that, right? They're like, see, the police said it, right? Which is funny because now they believe the police, but when the police are asking them to get out of the streets, they're like, no, I'm a freedom. Like they just can't figure out if they like police or don't like police. So that's kind of contradictory. But when I dug into this story,
and it's a mainstream media story too. They hate them.
Well,
but it was in the mainstream media.
When I dug into the story, what I did was I looked at video, I looked at Twitter videos, I looked at what actually people were recording from the incident, because it's all on tape. Like people were recording this happening, and we got the IDs of the two individuals that were doing it. And when we dug into actually who these people were, they were there for the Freedom Convoy. They put on their socials that they were going to Ottawa for the convoy, and they were not truckers. And that's what she kept trying to say was, they're truckers. They weren't truckers, and nobody's made that claim, but they were there because, and what I said to Dean was, in history, when you have a movement like this, there are people that attach themselves to movement that do want to go there and cause harm. the whole black bloc theory, right? Like when the G20 protests were happening here in Toronto, and then all that where those riots happened, it wasn't because of the Free Tibet people walking down Spadina Street. It was because these people there was people there that went purposefully to cause issues, right? So it was kind of a disingenuous point to say, oh, it's not linked to the convoy, when it was already kind of proven through their social media posts that, yeah, they were there to cause issues and use the Freedom Convoy as a method to do that. And they did show far right ideology on all their posts too, which is also kind of interesting, right? So.
I find it fucking hilariously disingenuous that anyone, and that was what sat with me after Andy's interview yesterday, that anybody, knowing what we've all watched, the pictures we have, the people we had working the event, every indication, every court document, every second of fucking video, every single picture, I find it absolutely hysterically pathetic that when anybody says, I don't know what your problem is. Like, I don't, what are you talking about? Like, that was peaceful. Oh, and I had a conversation with a lawyer in Ottawa today about this church, because I like doing fact finding. I'm a big fact finder. Find facts, talk about facts, hit people with them as hard as you can over the head, make them shut up. That's what facts do. So I had a conversation about the facts, and what was amazing to me, and I said this to him. No, not with this crew, but I don't care if it does. I only care about making sense of the people who are like, hey, can you tell me what's going on there? Because I trust your opinion. I'm like, yeah, no problem. I'll help you out with that as best I can. But I find it amazing. This is the only group of people who are completely immune to objectivity, who want to tell you that what you're seeing is not what you're seeing, what you're hearing is not what you're hearing, what you're reading is not what you're reading. They're the only people that have the ability to translate anything that happens in this country according to that at any point in time. Like, it is, and then on top of it, when presented with facts and receipts, like when presented with the idea that this fucking weirdo church called the People's United People of Canada Church, Tupac, that these people are like, we're not a convoy church, and there's videos of trucks pulling up that just have "fuck Trudeau" plastered across them, offloading like muffins and urinal pucks to take into the church, or they're all sponsored by anti-vax injury shit, and they don't give a shit. See you, Ryan. You got to go. All right, talk to you soon. All right, pal.
Thanks,
talk
guys.
to you soon.
See you guys.
That's right, no problem. Ryan's got us.
Going tubing.
I find it amazing that we sit here and give oxygen to it as if that's an alternative opinion or that's an alternative reality. And they might have a point. They got nothing, like absolutely nothing. What you see is what you see. And this is the only group that I've ever experienced in my life. And I was having this conversation with this lawyer today about bylaw, municipality law, what they could turn this fucking weirdo church into. And I said to him, I've never seen a group take no for an answer, get swatted down so much, and not only keep coming back, but not give a fuck about any of it. Like, they seem to be completely not bothered by the fact that the world has them dead to rights. They are absolute fucking degenerates. They are supporting a massive lie. As big as the big lie is in the United States, the idea that this convoy is a peaceful group of people just sent here to make the world a better place is as much of a lie as the big lie in the United States. They are degenerate, religious extremists who give two fucks about this country, don't care about you, don't care about Ottawa, don't care about the truth, don't care about accountability, all of them. All of them. And you know what? It's because they're in a fucking weirdo cult where they think that this is what they've been sent here to do. Almost all of them. And the people who aren't in the cult, who don't share the same religious belief system as them, who aren't on the inside with the prayer groups and the shit on Telegram and the WhatsApp stuff, hey, pray for this country. We're the only people who really knows what's going on. Theo Fleury, Jamie Chalet comes to mind. Both complete fucking degenerates, not heroes, degenerates that don't care about this country. They care about one thing and one thing only. Their attachment to something that gives them purpose. This gives them purpose whether they believe it or not, and I can guarantee you most of them do not believe it. This gives them purpose. You're seeing Jamie Salé be the darling of the crazies. You're seeing Theo Fleury get jobs and money from people who never thought never knew he existed, thought he was dead to rights. He was literally working construction and working landscaping. Said he had a landscape. He was literally putting out country music albums, hoping that people bought them, putting out books, hoping that people bought them. And you know what? I had respect for him back when he was trying to make money honestly, but none of these people are trying to do anything honestly at all. It is legitimately a movement of degenerate, lying, brainwashed, cognitively delayed extremists and assholes that don't give a fuck about you, about this country, about me, about the truth, about nothing. The only thing they care about is doing this one thing and one thing only, as described to them by whoever fucking tells them what to do that day, God's will. And God's will, if you're a brainwashed cult member, evangelical fucking white extremist, is to force that on other people. That's what they're doing. So that's it. That's all.
So
that's
I
how
think that's
to the point where
that's a little harsh. I think that's a little harsh, but I think.
But hold it to the point where this I can't take, and I wrote it down today. I cannot take anybody that believes in evangelicism, anybody who is pro-birth, anybody who thinks that their way is better for everybody else. I can't take any of those people seriously in life at all. When I meet them and I get to know them, I'm like, I don't take you seriously. When I interact with them here, I don't take them seriously. Yesterday with Andy, did I take that seriously? Not really, to be totally honest with you. The reason why I had her on is because I know nobody takes her seriously. Nobody of worth or merit takes her seriously whatsoever. So give her rope, let her hang herself. She did just that on this podcast. And when people come back and they say, what did you do? I did nothing. I let her speak. I let her be the person and showed everybody exactly what she was. This delusional person with visions of grandeur for herself in a movement that if it didn't exist, she would be working at a fucking IHOP. So in the big scheme of things, I might be harsh,
IHOP, but that's fine.
But
I love IHOP.
I do too.
Dean, I shared with you a couple weeks ago that I may have gotten a Google shared link to this church's media kits that they're releasing.
Yeah.
I need to send it to you because I need you to clear it by legal. Because I got renderings of what they want their building to look like. I got all their press releases. I got everything.
Love to help.
And they shared this with me. By accident.
Love to help.
So I want to clear it. But anyway.
Yeah, please send it. I'd love to see it.
There's a tease for everybody.
I think you touched on something, Dean, with the it gives them purpose. And I think a lot of this, because I'm wildly confused by the belief structure and the attachment to this cause. Like, from the perspective of, I think there were a number of things that we went through in the last 2-3 years that are worth bringing up and reevaluating so that we can do a better job of them moving forward. But I'm not about to march, I'm also, we don't need to get into this conversation again, but I'm also not a huge fan of Justin Trudeau and his government and what a lot of the decisions that he has made but I'm also not going to march down to City Hall in Edmonton and spend my weekend yelling, hang Justin Trudeau, right? Like, it's just, I still believe that we have this great country. But the thing that I find wildly hard to reconcile is the hypocrisy. Like, that's the thing that confuses me when I see on both in any situation, but in this one specifically, like she's like, I'm vaccinated. Like, do you not realize the hypocrisy of that? Like, it's just so hard for me to wrap my head around. Like, how can you justify all this when is that fair? Like, I get the religious side of it. I hate Justin Trudeau. I get that you were mad about the mandates and what it did to local business. I understand all of that. It's when they jump into this conflicting information and still try to sell it as some noble cause. It just floors me. And that's the thing that I see more often than not in this cause and others.
Yeah.
That I can't wrap my head around.
I agree, because like I put that in my notes, the I'm vaccinated comment, but then instantly went into vaccine misinformation, like almost like without missing a beat. And I'm like, and I see that a lot on from Andy, and I see that on my show all the time. All the people come on and be like, oh no, I'm vaccinated. I think there's two things that I think happen with that. One, I think they say it to see me if I say, or the person they're talking to says, well, can you prove it? And then they could say, well, no, you don't have access to my private medical record, blah, blah, blah. And they go on that rant. And then I think the second thing they do is they do it as sort of a casting a fishing line out to say, look, I'm just like you. I'm vaccinated too. But also here's a bunch of misinformation about the vaccine and why it's all this terrible fucking thing that we don't need to get. And I think that's probably more likely what's happening here. Is she vaccinated? Maybe. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter in this thing. What matters is that she's spreading misinformation about the vaccine mandates, and everything in between. And that's where I draw the line. That's why I do the show I do, because I don't like that shit. I don't like misinformation being spread around the internet. And I'm gonna call a spade a spade. And if that's wrong, I'm gonna call you out for being wrong. Just like I called her out for the arson story. Just like I called her out for the fucking not reading the MOU, but also still going to Ottawa, which is like, what? Right? Like that's all. I'll call that shit out. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, it's not an exact science when you're shitting on bad people, but it's a lot of fun, right?
Oh, I fucking enjoy it.
You got different metrics. I got different metrics. Like, I know Locke thought I was being a little bit harsh there when it came to me
you
not taking
tend to sometimes
seriously.
You tend to sometimes dip your toe into the extreme waters.
I'm pointing out you can't take someone who believes in sky daddies, fairy tales, lies on behalf of their Lord very seriously. That's what I'm pointing out.
We never did get into April's position on religion. I think that would have been an interest, and not that it matters, but I think that would have been an interesting angle to approach. Not April.
Andy.
Sorry. Andy Lee.
Yeah, I don't know what it is either, nor do I care. Anyway, it just was a fascinating dude, because it was like we got so many people yesterday that were so charged up after we got off it, and it lasted like the Twitter storm, dude, lasted 24 hours.
I got still going. And I wasn't even on the show. I'm like, why am I getting scooped up into this? Like, I didn't
get used to that shit. I get caught up into a daily bullshit on this podcast network that I didn't have anything to do with either. I'll get tagged in something, and the next thing you know, I got 400 fucking notifications, and I don't even know what it is. I'm like, what's lumber porn? Fuck off, you guys.
It's like the tweet that I replied to yesterday with you, Dean. It's like me, you, Kobe, my friend Kobe from TikTok was there, and a bunch of others are all liberal paid actors. And it's like, okay, like my Trudeau checks clear nicely. I'm not sure about yours. You said you spent it on wine gums. I'm not sure what Locke does with his Trudeau checks.
Women in Trudeau. What are you doing with your Trudeau money, dude? Just half sacks and a couple of bridge packs?
Every morning at 5 a.m., we get a fax with our talking points.
From Trudeau.
And, from Justin Trudeau
directly.
Specifically.
Yeah.
Writes everything we need to say on our show. Oh my God, drives me fucking crazy when I get called out for that. Nothing makes me angrier when somebody goes, well, you're just being told you're just a voice of the liberal. What? Have you listened to the fucking show? Have you heard me talk about Justin Trudeau?
Have you seen my fuck Trudeau bumper sticker on my Subaru even?
I don't. I took that off. It was too big.
I have in my notes of when was Locke going to get his fuck Trudeau flag flying, because your anti-Trudeau rant.
Oh, he
like,
is too.
All right.
But you know what I like about it? Locke is a bridge because he's from Alberta, right?
Yeah.
Locke's a bridge
from Alberta.
Locke's a bridge from normal people to the other side. Locke's a bridge to the dark side because of his hatred for Trudeau. If he hangs the fuck Trudeau bridge, puts the fuck Trudeau drawbridge down, a bunch of people will come in and go, hey, Locke's, he's one of us. And then all of a sudden he's got him. He's like, he's brilliant that way, because he really does not like Justin Trudeau at all. Like at all. It's like an unfair amount how much you can't stand him. And I get it's legit. Yeah,
neither
totally.
do I.
You don't like him. I'm not a fan either. Dude, I told you the article I wrote about him. Justin Trudeau is a national embarrassment. Big deal. Don't like the guy. Think he's weak. Think he's ineffective. But I don't think he's anywhere near as dangerous as a lot of people are pointing him out to be. So when Locke goes all in on how much he hates the guy, it's like this. It's like it brings all the defenses of the crazies down, right? When you're on the show, like yesterday with he was going on, and all of a sudden, like I saw in the comment section, all of Andy's supporters like, I love this Lachlan guy. He's the best. He's one of us. And I'm like,
maybe I need to switch sides here. I'll make some money. Fuck you guys.
Yeah, start selling supplements.
Yeah,
you might make $800,000 a day.
Boner meds. Yeah.
It's funny. Somebody tagged me in an article that was written talking about how, listen, the division in the country, it's not, we can't blame Justin Trudeau for it. And then I read the article, which basically stated that, that the right has done a marvelous job of painting Justin Trudeau as the bad guy, and that he shouldn't be held accountable for the division in the country. So I quote tweeted it like a dick and said, "Oh, I'm sorry. Let's all take our fuck Trudeau flags down. Apparently, Justin Trudeau's the victim here." And it probably got lost because there was like 9,000 notifications and tweets that went out after our podcast yesterday. Clearly, he's a great leader. And this is the first time in history that the opposing side of politics has gone out of their way to make the guy they don't agree with look bad. Everybody.
Fundamentally politics.
And there's that part of it too, right? There's that part of it where you're like, this has always been what we've done. Like, we've always taken a huge dump on the guy in charge. However, the people lining up to take that job weren't this fucking insane, right? So to me, there's like way more on the line. But you're
my
right.
biggest issue with Justin Trudeau, and it took me a long time to pinpoint this, is I get a really strong sense, and a lot of people believe me and side with me on this. I get a really, really strong, and I'm not a very smart man. I never have been, but I know people. I can read situations. I'm intuitive, and from day one when I started paying attention to this mutt, it was clear to me that he does not know who he is, and that he is portraying the vision of what he thinks we want a leader to believe. And it's so obvious. He wears it like a bad fucking coat. It's so obvious to me. And that's where my dissatisfaction with Justin Trudeau started. It is so clear to me that he just is not comfortable in his own skin. He doesn't like himself or something. And I don't know why I'm good at reading that on people, but I am. And if you go back and look at the people that I have made friends with and still keep in touch with, they're people that know themselves, that have flaws, that are okay with it. They're fucked up, but admit it. Like I've always made friends with people that are fucking real, and I would never be friends with Justin Trudeau. I can tell you right now, it would never fucking happen in a million years.
Not even if he showed up to your house and said, "Listen,
nope,
let's bury the hatchet, you and me, over a glass of rosé."
Because I can tell he's not being himself. I feel that oozing out of his. I can just feel it oozing out of him. He is not who he really is, honestly.
Oh, I know that.
And before you even started talking about those rumors, I had that opinion of him. I can go talk to my wife. My wife and I had this conversation 8 years ago when he was running. There's something off about him. That this guy doesn't know who
your
he
wife
is.
Didn't want to do him when he became prime minister at the tender age of 40.
No, my wife was very critical of me for not liking him at the beginning, and then a couple of months afterwards, she was like, there's something off there. She started to come around because she was chastising me for whenever he was on, I was like, turn him off, this fucking weak spined. I can't handle him. Like, shut him off. I can't listen to him speak. And she would be like, "Oh, what's wrong with you? You're just over the top. You're an asshole."
Hot. Yeah.
But the thing to note, though, and I think we all can agree on this, is, I don't like Trudeau from a totally different perspective because I'm more left on the line than he is, and I just don't think he's left enough for me. And that's why I don't like him. I don't like his politics. I don't like what he stands for, and this, that, and the other. But I think we all three of us can agree here. He was elected by the people of Canada. He's the prime minister of our country.
Barely.
And we have to, well, yeah, he's in a minority government right now, but we decide our leaders via the ballot box. We decide our government via the ballot box. And in 2021, just before this Freedom Convoy bullshit started, all those losers had a chance to vote. We all had the chance to vote in 2021 and decide our government. And in 2021, we chose what our government was going to be at that time. And when I talk to these people every show, I ask the same question. I'm like, did you vote in 2021? And a lot of not every time, but a lot of the times they said no. So they're mad about the government. They're mad about the process. They're mad about Justin Trudeau. Fair. They're flying their fuck Trudeau flags, but yet they didn't vote in the one thing that actually could have removed him from power, right? And put him into the opposition or let him leave politics altogether. So like, I agree with you.
I personally, I ticked off the coalition box. Like I was really hoping that we'd get that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think we need a coalition. And I think it's the only way that we can ever get out of this mess that we're in our country.
I think we just need a new party.
You guys,
like in the States, they come up with this new party called the Forward Party. Did you see that in the States? Andrew Yang, a bunch of other people were like, let's come up with a new party, Forward Party. And it's like, and the Republicans on that side and the Democrats on that side are doing one of these, we don't know if we want to split any of that vote. The votes are pretty thin in the middle. We can't really do that. And I'm like, fuck, we should just get some like-minded individuals that represent the 90% that sit in the middle, that go, new party for everybody. Fuck those losers. We're tired of the bullshit. We're tired of the virtue signaling. We're tired of the fucking conservatives. We're tired of the way that's been going for like 250 fucking years. So eat a bag of dicks. Not interested in entertaining how this works anymore in this institution. But in Canada, it's like we're so kettled. We're so fucking controlled. We're so controlled by what we read. We're controlled by the political systems and the institutions. It's like everybody's like, meh, and we're apathetic. Like I've said that all the time. We're the people that, the fucking neighbor's house is on fire. We're the people that are like, oh yeah, call 911. Like that's how we are.
It's funny you say that. I was on the subway yesterday. Remember how I always call fucking 911? Had an incident yesterday where I was on the subway and this guy got off the subway, just fell down for whatever reason. And in true Canadian fashion, the subway train stopped and like 13 people came off the subway to help this dude back up. Like that doesn't happen. I've been on like American subway systems and European subway systems. That doesn't happen there. So we are an empathetic group. We are a country that cares about each other, but yet we're still very divided on where we want this country to go. So I don't know. I just wanted to add to that.
That's a great way to end. Anyway. Right there.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. That is Sheep King JB. Are you doing a show tonight, Sheep King?
Nope.
Program?
No, I am. My birthday is on Saturday, so I'm celebrating it tonight. So I'm
with a female. You're going to celebrate it with a female? Celebrate it sexually? You're going to have a sexual birthday? Some sexual chocolate?
Okay, we're not ending the podcast. Do you have any did you have like a conversation about what you're going to do to each other beforehand? I'm going to try this, by the way, with my wife because
the polyamory
thing? Polyamorous conversation.
You're polyamorous.
I'm going to put a checklist of things I want done.
No, it's
read that. I want to watch her read that.
Go ahead. Sorry.
My partner's coming over tonight. We're going to just hang out and do some stuff, but I'm in conversations with Emmeline. We're having chats. I have conversations with some other people. So I got things coming down the pipe if you're on that side of my content, if that makes sense.
You mean your OnlyFans account?
Yeah.
Sheep King JB. By the way, everybody can go do it. Subscribe. He's on there. He's got a hammer on him too. I was talking to Rob about you before. He goes like, "Who's on the show?" I'm like, "Me."
You show your hammer on your OnlyFans
and JB.
Yeah. I do full adult videos on there.
Yeah, porn. It's called pornography.
Yeah,
he makes porn. We've talked about this. You didn't know that?
I did not know that. This is new information. I'm going to need time to process. I'm sorry.
All right. You got to go.
Do you want a free trial, Luck?
Do you want a free trial to his? He'll send you a free trial to his OnlyFans.
I'm okay on the podcast with you. If I see you, I don't know. Like,
that's fair. I get it.
I was just going to say something rude. I wasn't sure if I would be able to watch watch that, and then come here and then have a serious podcast with
well,
you.
Have you not interviewed a porn guy before? You've interviewed a porn star before, male or female. You've had him on the show.
We have a very intimate connection on this podcast. When we're on here, and we're on here multiple times, we're intellectually bonding, right? I don't know if I can, on a Thursday night, watch JB swing his hammer, do the helicopter, and then come on Friday and do a podcast with him. I'm just not sure I'd be able to do that. I'm just being honest with you.
No,
right?
And I totally get that. And that's why my OnlyFans is behind a paywall, right? If you want to see it, this is where you see it. You have to pay.
See it. Yeah.
And that's that. I don't have it on Pornhub. I don't have it out there on the internet for free. You have to get through the paywall. And I do that on purpose, right? So
you're going to ruin my day if I do end up watching a video on Pornhub and you're in it.
I can assure you it won't be on there that I know of. So
no, it's leaked. It's leaked, but
I'm sure
you got stuff on Pornhub. Yeah, for sure.
Don't.
Yeah.
Wait, let me check.
Don't.
No, he does. He's got stuff on Pornhub. I'm telling you, he's a porn star. He's a hobbyist porn guy. Like, he's not a pro porn star. I don't even know how you
when you say big hammer,
porn.
like how big is the hammer?
It's a big hammer. Listen, because he sent Rob sent me a picture of it. I don't know who's I don't recognize. Rob sent me a picture of it, and I'm like, "What are you doing sending me a dick pic?" And he's like, "That's your boy JB," because he paid for a membership. Rob,
yeah, Rob, that was a funny little email that I got. New sub alert, Robert Kiplaw. I'm like, well, at least I got a lawyer on my side now. If anything leaks, I can push some rhetoric about. But no, it's all in good fun. I did it because a friend wanted me to do it with them, and it just kind of spiraled into, it's an industry of word of mouth, right? Once you do it once and you do a good job, they tell their friends to do it.
Do you do a good job? Do you do a good job?
Yeah.
You get in there.
Yeah, I think so. I think.
Do you show everything? Will you no problem, full frontal, POV? Do you do POV? I've heard of these. I don't know what they are. I've just heard them. I'm just using
point of view.
I've never seen POV.
It's full fledged
POV. Do you do multiple people? Have you done more than one person at the? Have you made a porn with more than one human?
No, but that's being planned as we speak.
Okay. Are you opposed to doing a certain kind of porn, or is it just regular stuff?
I obviously have my ethical limits, right, where I don't cross a line. We were talking about that I think on Tuesday with M about like what I am and what I do. Like, obviously I'm not gay, so I don't do gay porn, right? I just don't. Although that's where the money is. It's true. Like, if I was bisexual Seriously? I could charge triple for what I charge. Honestly.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Per month, and people would watch it.
Money. Huge money in gay porn. Huge money. Absolutely huge money. I
would not have known that.
I think where I draw the line is anything where somebody appears to be getting hurt, right? Like, what I do in my sexual life is one thing, right? What I do on video is a different thing. Because here's the thing. We've all done the deed. It's not, when I do it for film, it's a job. It doesn't feel like sex, if that makes sense. It's because you do the position for a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever. And then you got to stop, you got to move the camera, then you got to start again. And then you do that again. And then you can move the camera again. It's like, for a 30-minute video or a 20-minute video, it's about an hour and a half to 2 hours of actual filming and moving and getting adjusted. And sex is awkward, and like, it's not, you're doing it for the camera, you're not doing it for pleasure, right? So it feels like a job. It honestly feels like a job, and it feels
it really?
Yeah.
What if somebody is licking your balls? Does it still feel like a job?
Well, I remember when I flew out to film with somebody. I flew out to film with somebody, and we filmed 4 scenes.
You must have had some weird jobs then, if that felt like a job.
Yeah, I have. Worked retail for many years. It's basically the same thing.
Look at John when she's licking your balls. Did you say so? Flow to Vancouver. You're gonna film 4 scenes. Go ahead. Sorry.
We filmed 4 scenes. I was there for 4 days. We filmed a scene a day, and we filmed 2 scenes on one day. But we were tired. Like it wasn't like we just had sex for the fun of it. We were sitting there and we finished, and we're like,
exhausting.
Do you want to go get something to eat? Like actually go sit in a restaurant? She's like, no, let's just order in. And we just ordered a bunch of pizza and like passed out because it was exhausting. It takes
porn?
a lot out of you. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It's a lot in you. And now there's the
porn music for you there, so we can kind of jack this thing right up, if you will. Sorry about the choice of words.
You got to edit it, and you got to like watch your balls on the screen, and you got to cut out awkward noises and stuff. It's
so I take it you're a regular trimmer.
Yes. Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is
all right. I gotta pull a shoot here. I'm sorry.
You know what? I think we just
going.
every time we have JB on, we should just end every show with some homemade porn tips, right?
Yeah.
I'm filming a bunch of content next week and the week after, so I'll have stories, I'm sure.
Oh, okay. Screenshots. You're going to talk us through the process. Make sure the ladies are okay with it. Well, not consent. Obviously, it's the most important part of sex. I mean, make sure you're okay with them sending screenshots if you're allowed to send them. I think it's great.
Threesome is definitely on my fantasy list. So if you do that, I'm going to be jealous as fuck.
I've done that a lot. Sorry, Luck.
He's done that a lot.
I used to go to the sex club. I go to the sex club. We talked about this.
Yeah, dude. It's like a Thursday, Friday. He goes there like 4 days a week. He's 5 days a week. He's at the sex club, maybe 7.
Every night. Okay, guys, I'm done. See ya. Get on the fucking subway and roll on down to Oasis.
All right. Watch Faces is a whole new world right now.
I went camping this weekend.
Yeah. Sheep King JB, follow him everywhere he has a show. At Sheep King JB, TikTok, Twitch, etc. TikTok and Twitch especially. Go subscribe if you're a member and you like great content. He does
apparently OnlyFans. Check out his hammer.
You can check him on OnlyFans. Sheep King JB on OnlyFans too. Is that correct?
Spicy Sheep King.
Spicy. Yeah, got a weapon on him. I'll give him credit.
Holy shit!
I
fucking enjoy you. I enjoy you, JB.
Yeah, you're the best. Talk to you soon, brother.
See you guys.
There you go, JB. That's Locke. He's gone too. Have a great day, everybody. Really appreciate you being here. Thanks to everybody for joining us. We'll be back here tomorrow on this very program with Chris Machete and Brent Donnelly from the Kids on the Escalator podcast. Good people. We're going to talk about good things. So we'll see you tomorrow, including how you can help in a bit of a fundraiser and comics. Some comics. Talk some TV too, I think. These guys talk about all the Marvel shows. They're super into it. Anyway. Have a great day. Thanks for being here. Thanks to our friends at Easy Auto Financial for making this possible. Use easyautofinancial.ca today if you are looking for a great deal on financing for a vehicle. Very difficult to get it sometimes, right? Like it's hard. Credit rating sucks. Maybe you've had a tough time, or maybe you just don't like doing the work of buying a car. Like I get it. It's a pain in the ass. These guys do everything for you. You don't have to do anything, including get your financing or pay for the financing. That's why they're great at what they do. Sign up today. Go check them out, easyautofinancial.ca. Ed at Ed's Fine Imports. What's up, Ed? Good dude. Great gitch. Underwear at a great fucking price. Luxury branded underwear. Boxer briefs in the front. You can't miss. These are like unbelievable underwear, fellas. If you get them, they'll be the only underwear you buy again. Guaranteed. No word of a lie. edsfineimports.com. Gitch3 is your promo code. Massive online store. So do a little shopping while you're at edsfineimports.com too. They got some John Barbrados stuff. They've got a ton of business. You can help you by going to edsfineimports.com, and you can help a Canadian-made business and a Canadian company that makes Canadian-branded underwear right here in Canada. Gitch3, promo code. Fellas, pouch in the front, super soft, breathable, comfortable, great waistband. edsfineimports.com. Gitch3 is your promo code. And of course, kivlaw.ca. If you're in trouble, you need some legal advice, some help, someone to walk you through the process of something you've done, or you're involved in some legal matters that you don't know what end is up and you put it off too long, these are your people. Doesn't matter what it is. You got a driving offense, you got a moving offense. If you did something stupid in your vehicle, you did something stupid in your life, you didn't do anything stupid, someone's accusing you of something and you need real legal help, like right now, Robert at kivlaw.ca. Again, Robert at kivlaw.ca. Check them out online today. Our partners and your partners, helping people through the legal system, one person at a time, one individual. They take care of one individual at a time. And then all the effort and the energy that they put into getting you out of trouble, you will get it. These are good people, the only people I trust in the game. So make sure you go to kivlaw.ca. Email Robert if you're in trouble too. Robert at kivlaw.ca. Super simple stuff. Have a great day, everybody. Don't forget to sign up for a newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow with the guys from the Kids on the Escalator podcast soundtrack. Podcast soundtrack. That's what I call them. And we'll see you then. Bye, friends.